right, so here you are. You are still at the Temple of Sigmar, in the Freiburg district, which is the kind of nice and wealthy area. Let me just cue up some noise. That's appropriate. There we go, some background. Okay. So yeah, you're still in... I think some of you were outside his window, some of you were inside the window, but you've just discovered the little dart. What do you wish to do now?
Fold it into a paper envelope, like a makeshift envelope.
Right, so that you don't actually have to touch it, right?
Yeah, we may want to take it somewhere to get it analyzed.
Okie dokie.
Wasn't the priest, or the father who was in here with us, he had left to get the high head person? Is that correct?
Yes, so Father Mortons, who is the one that died, you had Father Damien, who was like an initiate,
right?
That was helping you out. And he had been sent to indeed go and bring the head priest here, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were trying to swindle the glasses.
He wasn't going to bring him here. He was going to arrange for you to have an audience with him. That was it.
Yeah, we were trying to swindle those glasses.
Yes. While he's gone, I'm actually just going to try and take some of the blank paper.
Okay. Yeah, by all means. It's just blank paper.
That's fine.
Help yourself.
I'll take as much of it as I want.
Yep.
Paper's expensive.
Oh, it is. It's very expensive. Okay. So you just want to hang around until he comes back, or is there anything else you guys want to do while he's not here?
I think we all did our best to look at everything, and it was not great.
I mean, you found a few things,
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, but it was like it was kind of like we were flailing in the general direction of finding what we needed. More than
but
anything.
that's just because all of my searchy skills are awful.
Yeah,
we're really good at investigating.
I'm better at doing this outside.
I guess we're just gonna wait for.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
So is he here yet?
One. All right. Yeah. So it's a good 30 minutes before Father Damien comes back, and he says, our High Priest, Werner Stoltz, has said that he will indeed meet with you, but we are to secure this room, and he would like you to accompany me back to the main cloister.
Okay, I guess we do that.
Yeah.
About the window, perhaps we can put the window pane back in for now, and we will contact a mason to have him come and make repairs, yes?
That'd probably be good.
Okay. So yeah, you can
Help
kind
me.
of wedge it back in there.
Yep.
It's a little looser now than it was before, but it will just about sit there, but you wouldn't want to push it or shove it with any real force. Okay. So yes, and then he escorts you back to the main cloister, like where you first came in, with the big overly tall arches and incredibly high ceilings, where you await the High Capillar of the Nordland, who is His Holiness Werner Stoltz. So, once again, you wait for probably another 30 to 40 minutes, when eventually Father Damien comes and says, His Holiness will see you now if you're ready. Okay. And he leads you to the other end of the church, goes through a large reinforced door and you begin to wander much more elegant and overly glorified corridors and hallways that have tapestries of some of the greatest acts of Sigmar. Everything from when he was a boy, where he looks like basically a frigging barbarian. He looks like Conan with a warhammer. And then as, you can see him do it in all these incredible poses, one of which he is kind of standing on a rock surrounded by orcs, and he's got like this ginormous black orc with one horn by the throat as he raises his hammer to strike down on another one. And then you also, as it continues on, you start seeing him through more of a diplomatic point, to where you see him, on top of a large throne, surrounded by thralls and stuff like that. So it kind of tells the story of the life of Sigmar to some degree. At the end, there are two huge double doors, which you can see a couple of very well-armed Sigmarite priests wearing metal breastplates, full chainmail. They also have very impressive-looking warhammers. Both of them are kind of balded with tattoos on their faces. They have large kind of chains of office around their necks, as well as various different writs with prayers on them, kind of embossed and stuck actually on their armor, like with wax seals. Sort of a holy guard, as it would be. They take you into His Holiness's main chamber, and at the far end, on a beautifully carved, probably ivory throne, is Werner Stoltz, the High Priest, with all of his finery and regalia. The robes themselves look like they probably must weigh 100 pounds, because they're so thick. I mean, he looks like something straight out of, the Kardashians, with huge, big shoulder pads and all this sort of stuff. If anybody's ever seen Babylon 5, he kind of looks like a Vorlon, but with a regular person's head instead of the cap. That's how big and over the top his robes are. He kind of eyes you as you walk in, and then beckons you up as he holds a huge, large set of thick beads in his hands that he is running through his fingers. Let's see, and yes, you're in here. So, Hugh Monks. There we go. Okay.
I was expecting ale for some reason.
Wrong priest, wrong world. Okay. Yep. So you approach, and he says, "Greetings, your High Capitulary. These are the individuals that were sent from the City Watch. They has investigated the situation with poor Fazamola. They were also the ones that brought the icon to us in the first place." The High Priest kind of looks at you. He is, while he's a fairly large, foreboding-looking man, he's probably in his late 60s. He has fairly thick, bushy, kind of grey hair, and a fairly well-trimmed, kind of pencil-thin beard that just runs kind of from here, right along the line of his chin. He looks at you and he says, "May the blessings of Sigmar be upon you."
Likewise.
"You have requested an audience with me, yes? What may I do in my enlightened position to help you?"
I feel, of all people, you would know the most of the artifact that we recovered, and perhaps its significance, which would help us narrow our search for whoever's responsible.
"I regret I did not get to see the artifact before it was taken from us. From what I understand from Initiate Damien, Fazamola wanted to confirm its authenticity before he brought it to my attention.
Which he does have a writ.
A writ?
That we were able to copy. It's not the easiest to read, but
With
believe
my
your
eyes, I
familiarity.
probably would have more of a difficult time to read this than you. But does this writ give us any information? I understand from Initiate Damien that you have been imbued with all the privileges as members of the Watch. Please, of course, we will cooperate in any reasonable way that we can.
From what I can decipher, it is only his thoughts on what the artifact could be, perhaps.
Perhaps, do you have this document with you?
Certainly.
May I?
Yes, I'll hand it over.
And he holds out kind of a shaking, quivering hand, again showing his age. He takes it, and we can pop that up for chat to see as well.
Good luck, chat. Good luck.
Okay.
it's not an easy thing.
No, it's far from an easy thing.
I see the word
Bless you.
style.
Thank you.
I
Right.
read like
The first three words you
50% of
read
it.
are your 2021.
Yeah, he's kind of holding it and squinting and looking at it, and he goes, "As I suspected, I recognize that this is Father Moller's handwriting, but I have little more to decipher this than you do. Perhaps the City Watch has scholars or linguists that could possibly assist. Perhaps you could visit either the Guild of Wizards and Alchemists, or perhaps you could find a knowledgeable scholar at the inn with the same name that could possibly assist us. Beyond this, perhaps our esteemed captain, Schutzman, could possibly direct you in another location."
I'm curious about something, not being from here.
Yes?
What do you know about people who are rats?
People who are rats?
Yes, rat men.
Must be careful of speaking of such things, especially around the children.
There are no children here.
I'm gonna look around. Did I miss a corner or something?
No. Of course, many of us have heard the vile stories of secret havens of rat men known as the Skaven, that rumors are alleged live beneath the cities and in the dark corners of the Empire, but this is, of course, just rumor and suspicion. Little more than stories spread to frighten the children when they misbehave. If you do not eat your pudding, the Skavens will get you.
Skaven. And they live
They
underground?
live in the imagination and on the pages of books. There are no
Well.
Skaven.
Father, I'm sorry, I slept since we last played. Father Moeller,
Yes, Father Mola. May he rest
he
in
hadn't
peace.
eaten nothing, so he missed his pudding, so...
Yes, I do understand that it was when they went to get him for evening song for suppers is when Initiate Damon did in fact find him deceased. And this is, of course, when we call the Watch. While the Temple of Sigmar is illustrious and wields a significant amount of political power in the city, we know our place. And we know that this sort of thing is the dominion of the City Watch and falls under Schutzmann's devoted and experienced eye.
Where would I find these books that you mentioned? You said scholarly books.
Scholarly books?
On the Skaven.
No, not scholarly books. More like stories.
But you
Stories
said
and
that's
tall tales. Perhaps you could find a bookshop. You may find such a thing.
Well, I apologize.
My honest opinion. And of course, we are cautioned against saying certain things where the Skaven are concerned for fear of bolstering suspicion and fears. My suspicions are that, as we know, the mutations of chaos are many. And perhaps some chaos beastmen have taken on the visages of rats, as some have done so with bulls and rams and sheep and many other hideous things. So if indeed there are creatures walking around on two legs that resemble rats, I personally believe that these things are little more than leftover mutated chaos beastmen. And of course, this means they must be destroyed.
Well, if that is true, then they would want to imitate what they're pretending to be.
What?
So they would be, you said, underground, correct?
If there is any beastmen operating inside the city, then of course they would have to be somewhere deep underground.
And that would be, you have sewers, right?
Oh, the city has a vast labyrinth of sewers, both old and new.
Matthew, I don't want to go in the sewer.
If you find yourselves in need of going into the sewers, may I suggest you find yourselves a rat catcher? They are those that are charged with entering into the upper levels of the sewers, usually with their vicious little canine friends, to hunt and kill vermin to prevent the spreading of disease.
Do you know such a rat catcher? Or where we could find them?
I believe, yes, we has one that does come here to the church. He is a devout Sigmarite. I have not seen him for many years, but at last I recall, yes, a man by the name of Heinrich. Heinrich, what was his last name?
Oh, jeez.
Heinrich Saspen. Yes, Heinrich Saspen.
Suspin.
Yes. You would probably not find this man in the area that you find yourselves in right now, in the Freiburg. He is probably more in the less savory part of the city.
The big city.
Is there anything we can roll for knowledge on this Skaven?
You already did.
Okay.
Yeah, that was our knowledge empire, I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
to find if you had heard about these
Okay.
any of these stories and stuff, which none of you really
And we
had.
both boffed it.
Yeah. So apparently
didn't
your
know.
parents didn't use Skaven to scare you as children.
Well, I mean, I did screw up, so it's fine. It's fine.
I was a good kid.
Is there anything else that I can do for you in my position? Of course, my time is very limited and my duties are vast. So if there is
Yeah,
nothing
you look
else,
pretty busy.
I'm starting to believe, personally, that this whole talk of Skaven is a bit of a Widowmaker's task here. We aren't going to find a fairy tale, but it wouldn't be unlikely, if it's a common fairy tale, to maybe lead your own disguise of some sort to dissuade Was there anyone that Father Muller trusted implicitly with information that might have heard about the artifact before anyone else?
From what I understand, other than yourselves, only Father Damien, our initiate, was even aware that the artifact had made its way into the temple.
Is Father Damien in here with us now?
He is. Yep.
Okay.
He's just kneeling down by the side, with his head bowed down.
Are there any initiates that are, and do not take offense to this, though I could care less, who are under investigation?
Initiates of Sigma are beyond such suspicions. Their
How are they?
holy doctrines would forbid such a thing. And, not to mention, if we had suspicions that anybody, and as he says this, he kind of looks directly at Father Damien, who, while his head is down and he's looking at the floor, obviously suddenly is aware that he's being stared at, because he's like, pops his head up and looks. He says, we have means to discover them,
Sweet.
and we have our own ways of dealing with such treachery.
Okay, I like this priest now.
And Father Damien is just like
Sigmarian, of course.
nodding politely.
So we were given the artifacts by another priest of yours,
Father Dietrich.
and we did not tell anyone of our mission. And I'm going to look at the rest of the party. So we came right here, and we did present the artifact in front of your church.
Then, but as you can tell from the main cloister, as well as the priesthood and the clergy, our doors are open during the day for everybody to come in and worship. Perhaps somebody noticed, somebody unseen, somebody that would have slipped beneath your radar, as it were. It is entirely possible that other people saw this artifact. And, was there any discussion about the artifact in the cloister, or was it taken immediately to Father Muller's room?
No, there was no discussion, but he did react as if he had stumbled upon what he stumbled upon.
Holy Grail.
I was gonna say,
Father Damien looks up and
The
says,
equivalent of that in this universe.
yeah. Father Damien kind of looks up and says, this is true. Father Muller was somewhat in shock and surprised and was overcome. I had to take him and sit him down on a bench. Then perhaps somebody acknowledged this of being something of value. But of course, unless you can recall everybody that was in the cloister, this may be a very difficult line of questioning to try to pursue.
And I doubt, especially with the file and rank of a Sigmarian churchhood, any would dare.
I can only say that anybody that was willing to break into a temple of Sigmar and kill a very well thought of and connected Sigmarian priest, this is a very calculating individual. Somebody who does not have a cares for repercussions and for authority.
It would be good to check with, perhaps at the scholars.
But yes, maybe you can take your document and see if somebody can decipher it, and then perhaps you can report back to your good watch commander, and maybe he may know somebody to assist and conduct this investigation further.
Does anyone else have objections to leaving this?
No, I think that's the best
I'd-
plan.
Yeah,
I
I hate to borrow any more time.
I also noticed that you, and he points directly at Catterell, he says, are wearing the symbol of the great Sigma on your lapel. This is a good thing, because we are very well respected here in the city, and other Sigma followers may look more kindly upon you, knowing that you are somebody who clearly shows their faith on full display in amongst the city commons.
Jamming. Okay.
Jamming.
This will be the case until he opens his mouth and insults them.
Thank you for your time, as it were. May Sigmar continue to bless you with strength.
And may Sigma bring his blessings upon each and all of you, and help guide you in finding out who this terrible criminal is. And you can bring him to the justice that is deserving of taking the life of poor Father Mola. And of course, we would be indebted to you if you can find the artifact and bring it back to where it belongs.
As the case unfolds, you will be the first to know. Mostly because you're the coolest one.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, then we will take up no more of your time. Father Damien will escort you out and take care of any additional needs that you may have before you leave.
Thank you.
He kind of like slowly waves at you.
Yep. Wave back.
Damien gets up off his knees, bows deeply to His Holiness, and escorts you out of the church, back in, or into the main chambers and back into the cloister.
Give him a nice curtsy and then leave. Yeah.
I mean, we have plenty of choices, I guess.
Traces as much as loose clues strewn about.
We have the dart, the substance therein.
Mm-hmm.
I guess children's books to read about the Skabens.
Shh! Father Damien says, "You must not speak of them in public."
If they are but fairy tale monsters, why not?
We're not in public.
No, you're in the main cloister of the church. There's tons of people about
Yeah.
walking around everywhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He says, in the city of Middenheim, it is considered very impolite and rude to mention such things. Not to mention, some people will look at you and think that you are a crazy person.
Not that.
You
Believing
gotta be
in
careful with
such
these things.
outlandish things.
Gotta be careful with censorships of words like this. This is how you end up with the Dark Elves.
That's right. This is
Eleanor never did anything wrong.
You let us know. Please. It is imperative, as you may have noticed, His Holiness Werner Stolz seemed to imply he was more worried about the death of Father Mola than the artifact. But this is more for his position and correct behavior than actual intent. It is imperative that we get this artifact back. From what small amount of information I could glean from the reactions of Father Mola, this is a great prize that we must have returned.
Whoever took it knew the significance. Whoever took it was likely waiting for it. And I would not doubt some form of sorcery behind them, which would allow
Oh, you
them-
mean they knew we were coming?
How else would they have gleaned the information necessary to throw this intense of...
Could it have been someone we was traveling with?
Did the
The captain knew everything, didn't he?
did he?
He was there.
Yeah, I was about to ask, did we get the artifacts before or after our encounter with the witch, the midwife who turned out to be witchy, on the road to Middenheim?
After. No, before. Sorry, before. Yes.
So we got it, and then she went crazy.
And then,
Yeah, but her
Oh,
motives.
is that true? So, okay.
Yeah, but her motives were. So, to fill that part in, seeing as it's becoming relevant, I kind of skimmed over a lot of that because I didn't think a lot of it would become relevant. But a nearby town to Utengard, her son was executed because of a mutation that he had. She had basically cursed that town and the local mayor there. So what she was doing, she was trying to summon dark forces to go and attack the mayor.
okay.
So her motives were very much focused in a different direction.
Okay, and did the captain of our procession with the refugees know about the artifacts? Was he privy?
In theory, nobody saw the artifact until Father Dietrich pulled it out from underneath his cloak down in the pit and handed it to you guys, and I think you had probably pretty much stashed it away as well. So I doubt, unless anybody knew ahead of time from Ungart that Father Dietrich had it, it probably never came into view for anybody.
Okay, so with that, I'm going to look at Cadriel and be like, if it was sorcery, it would be quite potent sorcery. Not something of initiate would know.
I wouldn't suspect anyone killing a higher level priest of Sigmar in a temple that's well regarded by the surrounding area as anyone dabbling in their own power.
That would be fair.
Which leads me to the next. We should visit at least the scholars. I know you wanted to see it before.
Actually, you've got your horse stabled there. You didn't go
Yeah,
in
the horse is stabled there.
Yeah, you didn't go in the scholars, but you did actually take up use of the scholars, as
I
it
might
were.
need to pay a little more to keep my
Yes,
horse rates there.
Bertilda.
You carry on
Yeah.
talking. I'll be literally 1 second. I've got to grab something from behind me. 1 sec.
Okay.
Yes, Bertilda. Is it
Yes.
common for fairy tale monsters to be seen as such an impolite or rude discussion topic?
Not where I'm from, but there's like a lot of stuff that people might think is kind of rude or distasteful that people do in public.
Examples.
Well, I mean, I see people spit all the time, and
I mean, it just seems weird that the Skavens are something that people never talk about except to scare their children at bedtime. It seems like a weird.
Perhaps a euphemism is in order, so we can speak more freely about them without offending.
well, I mean, I would think that in a bigger city, you don't want to cause panic.
The war was fairly recent. There's a lot of fear going around.
And
Plus,
what
we
with
don't really
the-
got sewers in Utengard.
It's not even on the map, if I recall.
It's on the map.
That's why we're
It's
not on the
our
map, because we don't have a sewer. That's one of the
Qualification to
requirements.
be on
Yeah.
the map.
People in
one of the
Utengard
requirements
don't
to be
have
considered a
maps.
viable city is you must have a sewage system.
Well, we could check the sewers here in the city. I don't know where or how, but
Well, if you think of the size of the city, and the fact that it takes probably a good 5 or 6 hours to get from one full side to the other, the sewers that would have to be underneath this thing to support it would be
Probably
definitely-
massive and like a labyrinth.
Yeah, you would be needling in it. You know, you definitely would be dealing with like needles in a haystack at that point.
So, with that in mind, the scholars would be the perfect place to go because they might have a map or a history.
Yes, of course, because there's no map of Utengard, but there'd be a map of the sewer. That makes it screw these
In,
people.
in this city, probably.
My understanding is they like to waffle on about intelligent things from what we had heard. So
So
we
I believe,
may or may not make a connection with someone with an odd hobby.
I believe that we're all agreed that the scholars should come first, but I do think the idea of the rat catcher would be a good second option because they would be the ones to know what areas not to go to in the sewers, which is where we would likely want to go.
Maybe more than one, because these sewers is kind of big.
Fair enough.
Although I do again think we are jumping a bit to the Widowmaker's Island here.
If
Oh,
we're
sorry,
going to
that's a
be
metaphor.
looking-
That's a metaphor. It's
What is a
thing,
metaphor?
It's a thing on an island that the elves fought over for years.
That's not the one that uses like
Right.
or as.
No, that's a simile.
I'm sorry, that's a English major joke.
Simile is used like or as. That's the only literal difference in a metaphor is the particle, and it should just be considered a metaphor at that point. I don't know why we make the distinction.
Moving on. Let's
we
go
are
to
going
the
to go-
scholars
Okay.
and to find a rat catcher.
I
Or
believe
two.
if we're going to go to the sewers, the rat catcher would be our best option, but I think the scholars is the best place to start.
Right, for the dart and the maps that may or may not exist.
Well, the paper that we got,
And the paper, yes.
yes, that was the main.
And Heinrich is absolutely our second stop. I wouldn't even consider it an option at this point.
Well, we don't know where he is. It's a big city.
Yes. But we know he's devout. And I'm just gonna like flash my little thing. He might stop me.
All right. Yeah, we're going to walk to the scholars.
Okie dokie. All right. So down to the scholars you go. So the inn, it is probably the most popular in the Freeburg area, as well as offering food and drink, including an excellent dinner, and a place to spend. It's a place to spend the day debating any topic under the sun. It's got like a well-kept stable. It has 16 available rooms for those people visiting. It is a very kind of subdued yet energetic kind of place. As I said, it's kind of like, feels like if a library had a coffee shop in it. Like, there's lots of people sitting around tables discussing, and periodically they get a little flustered and get a bit excited and stand up and hands go everywhere. But there's not the normal kind of clinking of glasses and of cutlery and the vulgarities that you might typically find in a tavern.
All right. Gonna enter.
Okay. You walk in. There are several chess sets kind of set up around the sides where some old men are pondering over it, staring at it with their hands on their chins and stuff like that, weighing what the next move that they may or may not make. As soon as you walk in, a middle-aged man with a big kind of long, kind of pointed, crafted beard that's kind of waxed into a point, smiles at you from behind the bar and says, "Welcome to the scholars. I am Hugo. This is my wife, Petra. We are the proprietors. Perhaps we can usher you to a table and fetch you a beverage. Would you like some schnapps?"
I would.
And
Yes.
we
Sure,
boast
yes.
a vast array of schnapps, from peppermint, peach, blackberry, elderberry. We have strawberry. We has apricots. I personally am very fond of the peppermint schnapps. Has a lovely burn when it goes down, and very good for clearing your sinuses.
I'll try the apricot.
Aye, and for the rest of you, that's four apricot schnapps. Or perhaps
I think I'd go
something
with the
more
peppermint.
conventional you would like.
I'll take your recommendation there.
Fine. So 3 apricot schnapps and 1 peppermint schnapps. Right, he pours them out, puts them on the desk. This will be 6 pennies each. So 24 pennies all in all. Please find yourselves a table. Do you want to dine this morning, or if so, I will send my good lady wife over to take your order.
That would be well.
Yes, and before we go to our table, is there a historian of Middenheim here, perchance?
You will find scholars of all ilk and kinds here. Members from the Guild of Wizards and Alchemists, from the Collegium Theologica, and many scholars from all over the Empire, not just from the city of the White Wolf. May I ask in particular what it is you're seeking?
I'm gonna look at everyone and be like, alchemy, right? For the darts?
As
Well,
good as anything.
and would they have somebody that could probably decode your message there, you think?
Decode the message.
Yes,
Those
we have.
isn't
Some kind of
intriguing.
linguist or...
Yes, a
A
linguist
specialist a specialist of the languages. I see.
also an alchemist and someone who knows construction, historical construction.
Historical construction. This I do not know
like
about
sewers?
specifically.
like a
Tunnels.
cartographer
And a rat catcher, if you got one.
in the sky. What?
Hugo, you have a very likable and trustworthy face.
Well, I thank you very much. I can, in fact, help you with the linguist, though. If you look to the far right-hand side, there you see as a second chess table. The man on the right playing the black pieces is Berthold Schumacher. He is a very, very well learned man when it comes to the spoken word. And the written word. I think he may be able to assist you with your language problem. He kind of glances around. He says, in regards to alchemy, I do not see anybody that I recognize in this field, but the day is young.
Yes, if one such individual comes in, send them our way.
Oh,
please.
of course.
Thank you.
Excellent. This couldn't have gone better. Found a guy who just knows everybody.
Well, hey, it's a tavern that is frequented by smart people. And is very popular, so obviously people come back a lot. Okay, what do you want to do?
Go to the table and sit down. And
Okay.
then I'm going to look to everybody and say, who wants to approach the linguist?
Well, aren't you a scholar?
I don't
Yes.
think it should be me.
No, why not? You're very likable.
More so than I am presentable. You know.
Yes,
Just
I'll
saying.
Got a
go.
spot there and there and there and there and there.
Old Dad'll just get up and walk over.
Okay,
There's Odette.
right.
There's Odette.
Right as old debt starts to approach, the man, like you're kind of walking over to him, moving your way through the groups of people around tables, all leaning in, having their discussions. And right before you get to the table, he leaps up out of his chair and he goes, "Aha! I have you! Checkmate! Ho ho ho! Sir, silver shilling is mine." And the other guy looks at him and goes, Wait. Let me, if I, no, that's, oh, no, damn Wait! And he slams his hand across and knocks the remaining few pieces of the white chess pieces off across the floor, reaches into his money purse and puts down a silver shilling. And the other man picks it up and, like, just instinctively bites it, almost like he's checking to make sure it's real, which it obviously is. And he kind of takes it, pops it in his top pocket, and turns around and says, Hugo! He says, fetch me a order of your freshest stolen and some fine peach brandy to celebrate. At this point, he kind of looks. Oh, it is one of the moot folk.
Yes.
And what can I do for you, my little friend?
I have need of someone who can help me decipher something that has been written. Do you have time?
Well, if you'd have asked me a few seconds ago, I would have said no. But seeing as I just absolutely trashed my opponent, I find myself about to sit down, enjoy some fresh stolen and a glass of brandy. You should try the stolen here. It is delicious. A fine, delicious pastry. Sweet pastry. You will like it. But seeing as my opponent seems to have got up and left, by all means take a seat. And with that, he kind of leans over and starts picking up all the white pieces and meticulously putting them back where they belong.
My congratulations on your win.
He says, Of course I always win.
Of course.
The only people that I do not never play wizards, because they can see into your mind and know your moves ahead of time. So never ever play chess against a wizard. You will lose. And I never play Hugo. No one has ever beaten Hugo. Not one single time. He is a grand master of the game. As well as a established and well accomplished innkeeper.
Seems like the surest way to win is to not play people who have never been beaten.
This would be true.
It's a wise move on your part.
So, okay, with that, Petra comes down and she curtsies and puts a glass of brandy down and a plate containing this kind of like loaf-looking pastry with raisins in it and sugar on the top and stuff like that, and a knife, and he cuts himself off a big slice and puts it on a saucer and hands you a saucer and cuts off a big slice and puts it on there. He says, I know how you little people like to eat.
We certainly
While
do. Thank you.
it is well known that the finest chefs in all of the Empire come from the moot, nobody beats Petra Stolen. And he cuts himself off a big... delicious.
I'll try not to take offense to that.
So the documents that you talk about.
Yes, well, it is a bit of a secretive matter. I would like you to not share this information with anyone
then
once you have deciphered it.
You must forgive me. I do tend to get a little excited. I will lower my voice.
Certainly. I appreciate it. We are still, this is still a matter under investigation, you understand?
I see. Well,
And she'll...
yes. Muta is the word.
Thank you. She'll pass him the paper.
Okay. He gets it and looks at it. Yeah. There we go. He says, I see. This person had fine penmanship. And he starts to kind of look at it, and then he reaches into his other pocket and pulls out a single eyeglass and pops it in. And starts to squint down and look. He says, ha! I see. I think I may be able to help you if you give me just a few minutes.
Certainly. I appreciate it.
If I has any pen and paper, I would write the transcription down for you. But alas, I did not bring any with me.
Well, I happen to have paper, but I'm sure there's, in this establishment, with so many learned people here, there should be a pen somewhere.
I'm sure you are right. And he kind of slicks his fingers and says, So Petra, could you perhaps find ink and quill for me and my young friend here? And she kind of like nods and smiles at him, looks at you, and she wanders off. He says, I see. And you has paper, yes? So,
Certainly.
may I?
Yeah. I'll give him some of the paper I stole.
Okay. He goes, this paper looks stolen, just like the pastry.
I was gonna say, no, you eat that.
Okay. He kind of looks at it and he says, now let us see what we have here to look with. Petra comes along and hands him an ink and quill. He says, excellent. Now then, what can we discern from this? The frame appears to be later than the original painting, both by its style and by the something of the metal. Patina of the metal. Probably added later. Perhaps by dwarven artisans. Or imitating the dwarven style. It covers a large area of the original painting, only fixed with slender pins. Should be easily removed. Conditions of the paintings under the frame seems to be good. Colors are better preserved with fine detail, suggest cleaning the rest of the painting and exhibiting the whole image separately from the frame. The painting style seems consistent with the dwarven work of the Age of Sigmar. Could this be drawn from life? If so, it is a find of enormous significance. And this is where it seems to have stopped. The last segment here says and then there is no more. But here, and with that he hands you this, and I will provide it for you for your reference as you need it.
Oh, thank goodness.
There you go. There's the transcript for you.
Yay!
Success! Woohoo!
Yes.
I've done something, guys. I've done something.
Okay, he looks at you and he says, I don't know much about this painting, but a gold frame of that age must be worth a small fortune.
Yes, it does seem to be the case. That is what everybody is saying to us. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, no, not at all, not at all.
Do you happen to know anyone who knows any alchemy that we could speak with?
If you're looking for alchemists, then I would suggest that you go to another establishment. Of course, sometimes they frequent here, but if you go to the Guild of Wizards and Alchemists, perhaps there you can find somebody.
That sounds like the perfect place to look. Is it nearby?
It is very nearby. In fact, if you leave out the front door, turn the corner, and go around past the side of the inn, follow it down until on your left you will see the Temple of Sigmar kind of catty-cornered through the streets. At this point, take a right, and you will see a tall, grand building that is indeed the Guild of Wizards and Alchemists.
Thank you so much. You have been of enormous help.
Oh, not at all, and it has been my pleasure. Please, take some of this stolen with you. If you leave it here, I will sit and eat the entire confection, and this is not good for my stomach.
Well,
And he kind of cuts it in half and pushes half of it across the table to you.
All right. Well, she's not going to say no to that.
Okay.
Yeah. She'll head back. On her way back, can she stop Petra, is it?
Yes, that's
Is it Petra?
the wife of the innkeeper.
Yes. She's just gonna buy him another drink of what he's drinking.
Okay, all right.
As thanks.
8 pennies.
Okay, cool.
And she nods politely, and she says, as soon as I see that he has emptied this one, I will bring him another.
Thank you so much.
You will appreciate it. He is very fond of our fine peach brandy.
Thank you. And just tell him it comes with my thanks.
I will do this.
Okay.
Okay. What do you want to do now? So now you do indeed have at least the transcript. The frame appears to be later than the original painting, both by its style and by the patina of the metal, probably added later, perhaps by dwarven artisans, or intimidating the dwarven style. It covers a large area of the original painting, only fixed with slender pins, should be easy to remove. Condition of the painting under the frame is good, colors are better preserved with fine detail. Suggest cleaning the rest of the painting and exhibiting the whole image separately from the frame. The painting style seems consistent with dwarven work of the Age of Sigmar. Could this be drawn from life? If so, it is a find of enormous significance. The obviously there is no
He wrote
Could be the Camargues.
No, it very clearly says
He'd hardly bother to write because he was dying, would he? Okay, Python reference is done. I need to rewatch that. It's been a while. Okay, so what do you guys want to do now? By now, with all you came here fairly early yesterday morning, and did your investigation. You've been here, you've eaten, you've done all this. It's probably about noonish right now. What's your next course of action?
I believe we should go to the guild, if that's all right with everyone here.
I'm assuming you've debriefed us on the situation, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If you would like me to actually play it out, I will.
Actually, before you do that, I need to check something. Matthew Bain.
Yes.
Do you... What? Okay, you do have academic knowledge magic trained. You can make a dice roll for me. I should have got you to do that whenever you saw his tentacle finger.
Yeah.
But I completely forgot that you were playing what you're playing, and it would have been very relevant. So
it's all right. All right.
Under duress, you didn't think to think it, but now...
Okay. So... Yeah, your reaction probably would have been a little bit more harsh then. So I'm going to retcon just a little bit, because I forgot to ask you to do this, because it was right at the end of the show. We were way past time, and we were trying to wrap up.
Yeah.
You know what that was. That was warpstone residue. Warpstone is the very substance of chaos. It's basically like pure, wicked, magical energy that most authorities would probably execute you for having it in your possession.
Okay.
You would know that taking this to the wizards and saying, any idea what this is, would probably end badly.
Oh, well, I'm glad to know that you retcon that.
So,
and I was suddenly thinking he wouldn't do that. And I was like, wait a minute, I never let him roll to see if he knew what it was.
I am glad you succeeded.
Okay, so here's the thing. I wouldn't have said anything immediately. I would have kept it to myself, pondering it. The only other retcon that's happened is I would be stressing going to find the sewer map information more than the alchemist.
Okay, so you're not telling them this information.
Not exactly yet. I mean,
You would question how you
but
know
you do
it.
know
Because you question how I know it.
Because the reason you know that is because the second he touched it, and it was glowing green or purple or whatever. The second he touched it, his finger went and flared up into a tentacle, and as he kind of looked at it in horror, it kind of reverted back. That was from touching like little more than a tiny poke, the smallest amount conceivable. So that,
And I'm carrying that around?
yeah, you have it in a paper envelope, tucked away somewhere. So, yeah, potentially that stuff is absolutely lethal. If a witch hunter found you with it, you would be burning at the stake, no questions asked. They probably wouldn't even care where you got it from. They would just assume that the fact that you've got it means somehow you must have been tainted by it and need to burn. It's like the most illegal contraband thing you can own in the Empire.
We're with the guard. We
Peachy.
confiscated this.
And we're walking around with it.
So when you before the retcon, what was the last thing that the party said they were going to do? Sorry, I was just to refresh my memory.
I said
they
I wanna-
were going to go to the Guild of Wizards and Alchemists and inquire about it.
Yeah, so I'm immediately going to reach across the table and be like, "No, we're not. Please don't."
Pardon? Why not? We need to know what it is.
Lick it and see.
Well, it's clearly nothing good, and we don't want to have to describe how we came into possession of it.
Are you having this discussion?
What you
in
mean?
The,
We're
in
supposed
the
to
tavern,
be-
or have you left?
No, I think we're still at the table, right? We're
Yeah.
kind
We're at
of
the
okay.
table.
I'm keeping
Alright,
my
we're
voice kind of low.
Keeping hush, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not
What you mean?
shouting this. You know?
We need to know how he
Look,
died.
we have the letter that will explain everything. We're
Is
working
this
for the guard.
like a situation with
just
the
explain his
rat
way.
folk? Is this a situation like the rat folk where we can't really
Not exactly.
the rat mans?
I know
The
what it
mans
is.
okay.
And
Well,
it's,
then what is it?
it's something that you will die for having possession of.
I beg your pardon?
Matilda, please keep your voice down. You don't
just
want.
told me that I could die for having this.
Well, not if you say it so loudly. Just you know, we're having a theoretical conversation about it.
Well, shouldn't we get rid of it or turn it over to somebody?
I mean,
Who would we turn it over to?
probably. Look, it's
You know
Certainly
what it is,
casts a
who's
new light
responsible for
onto the level of who or what it was that did the murder.
look,
The fact that they had such a thing.
honestly, I didn't say anything because I was amazed that we were in possession of such a thing and that it was a part of this investigation. And a little part of me wanted to, admittedly, investigate it further, you know, and experiment with it maybe. I mean, my intellectual curiosity
I did
notwithstanding.
touch it with my other finger.
No.
See what it tastes like, though.
But we could be in danger if they know that we even have it.
True.
Whatever
was-
this is,
It
you
was confiscated.
charge it. Who would be in
As
charge of
we
taking
are.
care of it?
Sorry, Odette, what did you say?
Who would be in charge of taking care of it? Like, if we have to... Who is in charge of gathering up this substance?
What would I know? That, I mean, so I'd be like, well, witch hunters to start with.
So do we just go turn it into witch hunters then?
No.
No.
This is the question. We're trying to turn it into someone. Who
Yeah, you're not giving us a lot of options here.
But it does increase the severity of everything if this is the
What?
intensity of what we're dealing with.
Look, listen. All I could say is that what we have is perhaps the most illegal and most dangerous thing that exists.
Then we should tell somebody that we found it.
And you're letting us walk around with it into a bar of, highly intelligent people.
Scholars, well, you know.
Let's see what happens if we drip some of it into that man's drink.
I mean, we just saw a guy within the same time, like within a day, and they assumed that we had something to do with his death. So we're obviously suspicious as it is.
How loud are you talking, Bertilda?
Well, I mean, you've all specified you're keeping your
Okay,
voices down,
because
so because you specified that, I'm not going to take you at your natural volumes.
We brought this directly to Werner Stoltz.
Listen, I'm sorry. Okay, the shock and amazement at it got the better of me. But you have to understand, this is a very interesting thing to me, you know?
Because I love me some chaos.
Look, it's called warpstone residue. It's basically chaos energy incarnate. The very basis of
Okay,
the bad magic.
everybody will have heard of warpstone, even if you don't really understand what it is and know what it is. You know that it is a vile, disgusting substance that is responsible for all manifestations of chaos. Period. It's a known thing that it's bad.
What did you say, Bertilda? Sorry.
That's what I've got in my bag.
In a little envelope, yes, that you touched, Cadriddle.
I am God.
Yeah, he looks at his finger and periodically it just goes.
When were you going to tell us?
There are things about my life that I have not been public with yet.
Okay,
That's
well,
fine,
I
it's
would
not a
like to take a
surprise.
moment to be public about the fact that I want my life to continue, so I don't
Well,
want to carry this anymore.
I would like a moment to clear my sinuses with some peppermint schnapps.
Yeah,
I'm
It
sorry.
really does.
it works.
So, what is our next step then?
Well, we know what it is now, so we don't need it to be identified.
Right, but where do we take it now that we know what it is? You're not suggesting she carries it around for the rest of the day.
Yeah, please tell
Okay.
me you're not suggesting that.
I'll take it. Just pass it over to the table. Frankly, after hearing this information, I find everyone's actions completely justified. But part of me just wants to hold it.
Go put it back in the priest.
We are not.
Hold it. You already
No.
touched it.
That's what I'm saying.
We're not.
It can't get me.
He's already built up the
He's immune. He
antibodies.
takes the vaccine.
Yeah, he's got 5 months worth of antibodies and stuff against it.
We'll be good. We all just need to touch it, and then we're fine.
So since I rolled so well, how would one destroy it? Actually, like, I would think that would.
It's not easy to destroy. That's the problem. So you probably don't know how to destroy it. Anything you know, it's usually more locked away and secured in like lead-lined cases and stuff like that. Thick lead-lined cases. And then hidden away in secure places where it will never see the light of day again type stuff.
Okay.
See, I kind of understand your curiosity. No, I'm lying. I don't understand it at all. But it seems like we really do need to tell somebody that there's somebody that has this stuff in the area.
What was it called again? The stuff?
Warpstone residue.
Residue. Yeah, this is like whatever it was. The poison that was on the dart had just a little sprinkling of warpstone dust mixed into the poison.
Guys, I have so much in rumors accumulated that I could cause mass chaos in this place.
Warpstone, prison in the city, and all the flyers.
Beastmen coming.
Just poke someone with it, they
leader's
explode.
dead.
Elves are all contaminated. They have tentacles for fingers.
I heard elves have tentacles for fingers.
I've seen it.
Okay, look, we should go now. She's going to grab Bertilda's hand, and we are going to.
Freeze.
Oh my
That
god,
is
what
the
are we doing?
worst possible part to bring.
And we are going to.
She really is sowing that agitation, chaos, and
Oh man.
There you go. You froze
Okay,
for a
we're
second
back,
there.
we're back.
Yep.
We was like, what the? And it was so perfect. It's like, we are going to. The anticipation was real. We're going to.
Yep. No, we're going to go. I think it's time for us to leave.
yes.
So she's gonna grab Bertilda's hand and like start walking towards the door.
Yeah, I'm gonna be following you close behind, be like, we just gonna get a lead line something and put it in and seal it and then
Aren't we at least going to wait for our food and drink?
No, we are not going to wait for food and drink while we have this.
Because I don't think there is a way to destroy it easily.
I think there's a couple people in the party that need to reevaluate their priorities.
Well, you have to understand, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
My horse is here.
This half is stolen.
Also, we're elves, man.
Yeah, like this
They
is
eat mediocre
just the thing
food
that
if you
happens in
like,
life.
but-
Are elves fireproof, or like did I miss that?
We're not fireproof. We just live a long time, so anything that looks like mortal danger to us is like, oh yeah, okay. We see a
Well,
lot more of it.
You can stay and finish your mediocre meal then. Gonna get up and like go. We're leaving.
Well, then where do I find you? Because I'm definitely going to do that.
Well, and he's either got to get his horse or he's got to pay for another night too. So
Yeah, yes, Odette, where are we going, actually?
She's actually just gonna be walking. We're
I'm
heading back to the
I'm
guard.
going with her because she's the
Well,
only
I
one
mean-
speaking sense.
If you guys if you took it to the captain of the guard, given that we were sent on a specific mission, and we are given the same rights as, say, a member of the guard, then we would be just confiscating materials and taking it as evidence, at which point we aren't going to be killed for having it.
That is the direction we are
Probably.
walking.
But you guys can go do that. I'm going to go ahead and enjoy whatever that pastry was. That looks delicious.
well, plus you have a horse, so by the time you finish your meal, you can catch them up anyway.
Probably.
So, yeah. Okay, so you're
I'll
gonna
pay
finish-
whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, so you're going to go ahead and finish your decent meal, you know, and
Ooh,
everybody else is going back to the city watch then.
yes, but on the way, we did pass the statue of a rat catcher, right? Didn't we?
You passed a statue that was
A Black Plague Memorial.
basically a Black Plague memorial. Yeah,
It's the same
hence
thing.
the fact that if the Black Plague was a bad thing here in town, maybe this is why rat catcher is a job.
Right, so
And why Skaven are such a dirty word.
okay, so would I know what a rat catcher is? I guess this
I mean,
is my
he
question.
explained it to you. It's a person that goes down into the upper
Yeah,
levels
but
of the
I mean,
sewers
like-
and catches rats.
Okay, so when we
That
passed...
literally is what they do.
No, I
I mean,
get
it's
it.
pretty self-explanatory.
No, I know that a rat catcher has a pole with rats on it, and they have a dog. But they didn't say anything about the pole, right? So I'm...
No.
He has a pole with rats on it?
Yeah,
Typically, that's what they do. Is when they kill the rats, they put them on the end of a stick. and-
Literally,
Oh.
it's their hierarchy. The more rats you have on your pole, the more well-regarded you are as a rat catcher,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, well, that's just like an everyday
way of
thing. Everybody
showing-
knows.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I caught 6 fish. Well,
That's
I
not
caught
even
10.
a Warhammer thing.
All right, so as we pass that statue, I'm going to be looking for people with dogs, I guess, because that's my only frame of reference at this point.
Well, it's a statue in the middle of a square, so there's probably plenty of people with dogs, and the dogs probably take great pride in cocking their leg up the statue. So,
Anyone have rat skins on? Question mark. Like
no,
who look rat catchery? No.
not covered in rat skins. No,
Or who are rat catcher? I mean,
Are you a rat catcher? No. Okay, are you a rat catcher? No.
I might be asking everybody I pass with a dog, are you a rat catcher? I mean, just
Okay. Well, if you're gonna do that, all the way back down, up at this end of town, you're not gonna find one. But by the time you're down into the Merchant District, and the Southgate Ostwald District, as you're heading down, the chances of that become more likely. I would say that rat catchers would be considered an uncommon thing, so you're looking at about a 50-50.
I'm totally going to use that in everyday vernacular, by the
There
way.
you go.
When anytime
So-
we're talking about something I know a lot about, I'm just going to be like, I have a lot of rats on my pole, if you know what I'm saying.
That's it. There you go. All right, so 50 or less, and you might actually see somebody that fits the rat catcher bill. Let's see. 66. I'm afraid you do not.
Aww.
So, but probably by the time you're here, Cadorel has caught you up as you make your way to the City Watch offices of Ulrich Schultzman, Watch Commander. Okay. You're let right in because you are technically members of the City Watch. What do you want to do?
Is there anyone else in the room?
There's quite a few people in the main room area, but once you go, if you're going to go find him in his office, then no.
Yeah, I think we would want to.
All right.
Just talk to him. Just him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So you get back in there. All right. As you kind of go in there, like a clerk is talking to him and about to walk out the door. The clerk glances in a ledger and then disappears into, one of the back rooms. And at that point, he looks at you and he says, "Well, so, do we have any leads?"
We have a very upsetting lead.
I see. Well, start at the beginning. Tell me what you managed to detect.
Well, can we shut the doors, please?
Yeah, he's not getting up out of his chair to do it, but he kind of like motions to you to do it.
Okay.
So you shut the door behind you. Okay.
Yep. Well, you see, we found, there's this dot that we found, and it happens to have some trace of a substance that should not be found in the city.
I see. So we are talking some kind of illicit poison.
That's an understatement.
Okay, he looks rather concerned.
Let's not lead the man on. It was warpstone dust.
When you say that, he kind of like instinctively leans back in his chair, like, "And where is this? Where is this dust now?
We
Well, we've brought
confiscated the source.
And where is it now?"
I'm gonna reach in my bag and I'm gonna pull out this paper envelope and I'm like,
Okay, he
Shaking
yanks
handed
open
it to
a
him.
drawer, pulls out a lockbox, undoes the lock, dumps the coins on the floor, and then slides it across the table and goes, "Put it in there!"
yeah, okay, shakingly, I'm gonna put it down there and slam
He pulls out
the
his
lid
boot.
shut.
Okay, you slam the boot shut. He pulls out his dagger and like flips the latch over and slides it back across the desk, opening the drawer and dropping it into the drawer, closing the drawer and locking it. Then he gets up and comes as far away from the desk as possible to the other side of the room where you guys are standing.
I'm gonna start breathing again.
He says, "This was used in the death of Bazamola,
It was found in his collar.
and it was delivered to him how?"
About the dart.
Someone snuck in through the window.
Possibly a rat man.
Oh.
Okay, when you say that, he looks,
Oh.
I was gonna
and he
leave.
takes a big sigh, and you kind of got this look of sad realization comes across his face.
All we know is that the window that normally doesn't open was opened, and from behind, the dart was delivered to the back of the priest's neck.
No, I think he knows more than he's told us.
Yes. You have heard the stories and legends of the vile ratmen, no?
No, actually. We're
Today.
all very confused, and we just learned that we're not supposed to talk about them.
It is considered very bad form here in the city. And for good reason.
Because they're real?
They are all too real, I'm afraid.
Oh.
And
wonderful.
these foul creatures have been a plague in secret to Middenheim for centuries. You see, to the average person, it is imperative that the stories are just that, stories. But to myself and other high-ranking members of nobility and politicians know the truth. Some say the Skaven, as they are properly known, are just another kind of beastmen. But I have fought both, and they have little in common but a bestial appearance. Skavens are smaller, quicker, and far more devious. Beastmen are really just brutes. We have had a lot of trouble with the Skaven during the siege. Much of the Undercity was sealed off to keep them out. But there haven't been any reliable sightings since the Chaos Army left. If there are ratmen still down there, and they're able to come up into the city and kill as they please, this is a serious matter. And then he points at a map that he's got up on the wall. I did not dare to think that there was any correlation between Bazamola and what I'm about to tell you. But you will see these 3 pins on the map. These are the locations of previous blow dart killings. One was a watchman outside the Collegium Theologica. The second was a doorkeeper at the Dwarven Engineers Guild. And the third was an individual so far unidentified who was found in the Old Quarter. There seems to be nothing to tie them together apart from the manner of their death.
About the religious artifact. Doesn't it have some sort of dwarven?
There's a dwarvish connection with the artifact?
Oh, we didn't show him the translation.
We didn't even know that there was a letter written. This is our first time back here, guys.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
So
I decided to prioritize the
it
most
seems there
important
is other
piece of
information that you has to share with me, so tell me everything.
Yes, well, I thought we should prioritize first. We found some notes that he had left about the artifact that he had found. It turns out the frame was perhaps dwarven, or of a dwarven style.
And the material that this frame was made of.
Is it gold, I believe? Let me see.
Yeah, it was gold.
It was a gold frame?
We had to. The original paper was, I guess, taken by the murderer, because this is just what was scratched on the paper below, which we filled in.
See.
So yes, the original writing was stolen.
Perhaps it was stolen purely because of the value of the frame, and they did not have any understanding of what was inside. Or perhaps they had a very good understanding of what was inside. But why would this interest something as disgusting as Skaven? And why these other murders? They had no connection with the frame.
Who were the other murders? You said an engineer, an unidentified man.
Yes.
It was somebody that was in front of a dwarven
One
engineer.
was a watchman who was on duty outside the Collegium Theologica. The second was a doorkeeper at the Dwarven Engineers Guild. And the third was an individual so far unidentified. He was found in the Old Quarter.
I think we need more information about the person in the Old Quarter. Well, we know that theologically, okay, so it's got something to do with a religious artifact. And there is a dwarven element.
Well, it seems to me that there is obviously some kind of connection. So in that case, I will task you to find out what happens, but maybe perhaps investigate the other 3 killings further, and see if you can find any kind of commonality.
Do we know where these murder victims would be placed?
Currently, they are all at the Temple of Mor. They have not yet been buried, but they have been put to rest.
Do you know around what time these murders occurred? Was it within the past few days?
It has all been in the last couple of days. Yes.
Oh, I'd say that they are connected then.
I would recommend, particularly if the method of
the
death
thing
is
is-
the same.
How would the Skaven know that such an item was at the temple in the first place? And why would they murder these other individuals if the price was to be had at the Temple of Sigma?
That's
I
where
think
my-
I know what all that is getting at.
More importantly, if they were all killed in the same manner, do you
Where
think
are
their
the darts?
bodies should do you think that their bodies who have been tainted by this should actually still be here in the city?
Well, as I said, they were taken to the Temple of Mor and properly prepared. They have
were they
not yet
properly-
been buried.
Were they properly prepared, considering
They
the fact
were
that they were
placed
now...
They will be placed in lead-lined coffins, yes.
Okay.
I suspect there's. You say you've dealt with the Skaven, that they are crafty and, well, tenacious. I don't know if they would have what it.
Of course, and
I
he points at
suspect
the map.
those-
And he says, so here is the Temple of Sigma. This is where Father Morton was found, yes?
Yes.
And this building right here is the Collegium Theologica. As you can see, in very close proximity.
Should help us pinpoint perhaps the location.
What's of the unidentified body?
The old quarter.
He was found down here in the Alt Quarter.
And was he in front of any important buildings?
He was found in a back alley, laying in his own filth.
Pretty.
Okay.
The final victim was found right here. This is where and he's kind of pointing at the third pin that's here. This is the Dwarven Engineers Guild. But this is far, far from where Father Mola and the guard were killed. We will say nothing about this to anybody. We will keep this quiet. And for pity's sake, do not mention Skaven to anybody. We do not need panic and riot upon the streets, especially when we are so limited in our guard capabilities.
If the Skaven are attacking openly, however, don't you think the people should know?
Do you want to cause a
They are
panic?
attacking in very small, specific circumstances, and we are going to stop it before the news gets out. Trust me, a handful of people dying to silent assassins in the night is far better than dealing with riots in the streets. But as you bring up this point, it highlights just how important it is that you all successfully managed to find exactly what is happening here and put a stop to it.
You were given the name of a certain Heinrich Sitzvin,
Heinrich?
rat catcher.
Ratcatcher.
We-
I know several ratcatchers.
I suppose they would be the first to know a place a rat man would be hiding.
We suspect that it is the Skaven, they are using the sewers to get around. So we would need an expert if we were to...
Didn't he just say that the undergrounds were sealed?
Only
Did he?
parts of it. Parts
He
of
said
it
that
were.
the undergrounds had been sealed off.
Only parts of it were.
Oh.
Parts where they were located.
Yeah, there's your 3 bodies. I've just drawn them on the map. And, of course, technically... one there, too. Okay.
So did he say that the... So he just said the parts, right? Like what that
Certain
said?
parts, apparently.
It was certain parts of the underground that was
Yeah,
sealed off.
much of the Undercity was sealed off to keep them out. Because there's, like, old sewers, and then there's newer sewers on top.
Okay. Well, I'm still going to say what I said. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's clear that they found a way from below to do these hits.
Well, perhaps if you can find out more about the other murders and find more information, perhaps we can find out where they're coming from. Or indeed what their motives are.
All right, where y'all want to go next?
House of the Moor?
You're wasting your time. They are not going to let you see the bodies. Because, of course, the bodies have been infected by Warpstone, so...
Well, they don't know that.
We also might want to have, unfortunately, Father Morton also dealt
Sealed.
with. Sealed.
Does, did this information about the Warpstone, did you relay this to anybody at the Temple of Sigmar?
We didn't even know about it until 10 minutes ago.
To avoid,
Well, no,
to,
couple
avoid
hours
a,
ago.
to avoid a panic, we did not.
Very well. I will discreetly arrange for somebody to go and fetch Father Morton's body and take it to the Temple of Moor.
They've been very.
They must be
stern
informed
about-
at once
yes.
that there is Warpstone at work.
They've been very stern about keeping the evidence as it was found, so I doubt heavily that anyone would be affected.
Well, this is good. We will make arrangements to have all the bodies properly secured. Do not worry about that. My suggestion is you go and investigate the scenes of the crimes. After all, after investigating one scene, you have come up with more information than we had before. Perhaps you will ascertain more information by visiting the other scenes. Now we know more specifically what we are looking for.
So I'm going to look at the map and say, well, I guess we can travel to the one closest to us and work our
You
way.
said specifically that you found tracks that appeared to be rat-like, yes? Perhaps you may be able to find more tracks at the scenes of the other crimes. Of course, my guards would not have been looking for such a thing.
The sooner
would
we
not
get
have
there,
known
the
to
less foot traffic would cover them. We should go.
All right,
Yes.
well, you got 3 places to potentially look at. Where do you want to go first?
Just kind of makes sense to follow the arc up, doesn't it?
Go to the Wind first, and then the Alt Quarter, and then the...
Okay, so basically the Dwarven Engineers Guild first.
Oh dear.
That makes sense?
Oh dear.
All right, well, before
have
we
elves
do
in the
any
party.
more, we're going to go ahead and
Only
take a short
elves in
break.
the party.
So you guys wanted to make your merry way up to the Dwarven Engineers Guild. Okay. To investigate the murder of, let's see, the doorkeeper at the Dwarven Engineers Guild. Okay. What's your tactics for inquiring about this? So, Uldet already, probably quite rightly so, pointed out the fact that elves and dwarves still have a pretty strong animosity in Warhammer, so elves showing up and start sticking their nose into dwarves' business probably not going to go down that well.
Yeah, I'm going to defer to the human and the hobbits.
Okay. Hobbit?
The hobbits? I'm going to be quiet.
Halflings.
Kind of shrouded and
Okay.
my private self.
And I'll probably just check from the tracks.
I guess, do we know the building we're looking for?
Yep, it's on your map. It's marked here in red because those little red circles indicate the pinpoints that Schutzman had on his map.
Okay. But we would be able to recognize this building when we walked up to it, too. Okay.
I mean, when you walk up to it, it's pretty damn obvious it's a dwarven building. It's a big, thick, heavy-duty stone building with all kinds of very ornate stone carving. And the fact that while a dwarven doorkeeper was killed, he has been replaced. There is another doorkeeper there now. Who,
right.
surprisingly, is not very tall, is quite wide, and has a big bushy beard.
Sounds about right.
Okay. So the elves are staying back, and Aldette and Bertil...
Before we get there, I wanted to ask the group, what do you guys think about sharing information about what we had found, the artifact and its dwarven connection, as a way of sort of earning trust?
Kind of think we
Dwarves
might
wouldn't
need
trust
to.
us anyway, so why...
I'm not with you, obviously. With me.
So I say don't tell them anything that they don't need to know.
Okay, never mind. I'm going to ask the human.
What I would say is more along the lines of, and you're free to ignore it. It's best not to let more people in, as to not get them tangled up in a mess where we are trying to eliminate all of the ends to find the answer.
Would you not think that they are already entangled in the mess if they've been killed by the same entity?
Well, we aren't going to ask questions to anyone who's been killed.
No, but we're asking questions of the place they were killed.
Yes, and that's
And we're
different.
asking
We're
questions
investigating
to
at
figure
that
out
point.
why they were killed here.
But we have authority. We have notes.
Oh,
So
also,
maybe the
Someone's
best
already involved.
decision is to not reveal anything we don't need to, but if it needs to be revealed in order to get what we need, then
fine. I agree with that. Although we don't even know if
it's related.
This guy was killed because of the artifacts. That's a assumption we're making.
He wasn't killed because of the artifact. I was thinking the artifact having dwarven connection could help us. They're notorious for not wanting to share information.
Well, the dwarves who probably did the artifacts painting is dead, so it's irrelevant.
Are they though? That seems a little
Yes, but
racist. I
don't you
mean,
think
If you find a fellow rumor monger among them, then go ahead and play your game. It'll get us the most information.
rumor monger?
John, to answer your question, it's because I can't do any other accents, and I feel like I speak the same way in every campaign.
Your families were... I'm going to assume that your families might have been Bretonian expats. And they came over and made... Y'all came over to stay with some of your imperial cousins.
Yeah, she comes from South Utengard,
Albion. She comes from Albion.
America. Yeah. She comes from the Louisiana family.
Yeah.
Utengard.
Okay, so...
Oh.
So you're going to bring it up if you feel you need to, but generally you're not going to kind of lead with that. So
No, that's what they think.
Well, I trust your judgment because
Okay.
our
do any of you have
Confederate
common
is
knowledge
fine.
dwarf by chance? I don't think anybody does.
No, I just have to kill them all. Knowledge.
I have extremely
To kill them all.
I have extreme prejudice towards dwarves.
Yeah,
as a
extremely common
skill.
knowledge dwarf. Dwarves are short and small.
And don't live quite as long as elves.
I have Talia, whatever the hell that is. And...
Delian, that's basically Italian.
I just
Oh yeah, we talked about this. I remember things sometimes that you tell me.
Yeah, because we all know that Games Workshop love to plagiarize the real world. So, hey, it makes life a lot easier because you can actually relate to it better.
Yeah.
So, because of the way it feels.
I
Okay.
can project. This is representation.
That's it.
Am I correct in my assumption that like dwarves don't typically want to share things?
Dwarves are. Dwarves. General stereotypes of
Right.
dwarves that all people would have. They drink lots of beer. They hold grudges indefinitely. They drink more beer. They love to mine. And they are a secretive and non-trusting group of people, yes.
But they're also really proud, which is why I was
incredibly
thinking
proud.
we should bring up
They
the
are
fact that
very,
have
very
this
honor
amazing
bound.
artifact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, we get your answer.
Just go up and swing it. I was
Do
like,
what you want to do, man. You'll probably kick ass.
smell any good rocks today?
No, I just wanted to
Here,
make
have
sure
a
that
beer.
was knowledge I would have.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
It was an assumption I had, but I wanted to make sure it was knowledge that my character
Yeah,
would
that
also have.
sort of knowledge you would have without needing a skill roll. Because, I mean,
Okay.
it's just... But as I said, it's the stereotypes.
Right,
While
no. of
elves
course.
are all snooty and
Absolutely.
condescending and frou-frou. Again, stereotypes.
Absolutely pretentious.
But it's completely true.
And megalomaniacs and narcissistic and...
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Letting the human walk around with something so dangerous.
So you guys you head up towards the Dwarven Engineers Guild, and as I said, there is another doorkeeper standing with his axe, and it's a pole axe. So basically, he's got a big old pole with an axe head on the top of it, looking very official and very kind of uniformed, with a big scowl on his face as you start to walk up. And he kind of grimaces and looks at you, kind of more or less eye to eye with Aldette, and glances up a little bit to look at Bertilda.
Greetings!
He looks at you and he says, "Greetings, lass. So, what brings you to the Dwarven Engineers Guild?"
Yeah, I'm gonna look to Oldette.
Of course.
She's
we're
more
here
well-spoken
to-
than I am.
We're here to question about the recent death that you've had here.
"Recent death? What do you know about that?" And then he
Well,
kind of looks rather cross and agitated.
She's gonna pull out the paper from the guard.
Oh, the official document?
We've
He goes-
been charged with the guard
Oh, I see.
to investigate it as gently as possible.
Well, night before last, the good honourable dwarf that did the job that I now have found myself in the shoes of,
Yes.
unfortunately, met his demise. He was found dead in a side alley out back near an open window.
An open window.
Aye. Never did find out what killed him. No visible signs of damage. But whatever it was, it would have been mighty strong and mighty cunning to sneak up on a dwarf and kill him so efficiently.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you.
Probably magic.
It's a dangerous
Probably.
thing to deal with, I know.
Elven wizard or something like that.
Well, I don't know. I haven't actually been able to meet any of the wizards in town, so I don't know if there are any, but perhaps I will find what you're looking for there. I'll keep an open mind to that. What is on the other side of the window that he was found outside of?
Well, it just went into one of the main corridors, one of the main halls. Just a small antechamber window, that's all.
Were there any other doors that were open in that hallway, or do you keep those locked?
Well, of course we keep them locked, especially at night, from the prying eyes and so forth.
Were any opened that night?
Ooh.
Give me a... Let's see here. Give me a gossip roll.
Having a guard that likes to gossip.
Hey, never know.
Oh,
Oh.
no!
Hey, it's a
Wait,
new day. You all have fortune points back.
And
That's up to you.
I'm gonna force
And
you
you've got a
to
pretty,
that.
and you've got
I
a pretty
actually
good,
have
you've got a pretty
track
good
on
target. So it might be, it's probably not a terrible waste of a fortune point.
spend it.
Yes, yes!
There you go. He says, "Look, if it got out that somebody was able to pick dwarven locks, well, It would be shameful, you understand? But aye. Clearly, to get what they took, they had to get through 2 doors. And a...
2 doors.
Aye, and a locked chest.
That's incredible. I've heard such amazing things about your workmanship. That seems impossible.
Well, nothing's as sturdy as a dwarven lock, that's for sure. No, the person that did this was sinister and most foul, and of the most devious and cunning nature. Assassinating dwarves without their knowing, sneaking into the Dwarven Engineers Guild, picking 2 locks, making off with dwarf... Well, anyway.
What was that last part? What was it that they took? I only asked because it might be a clue into finding out where they were going or what they needed it
If
for.
you weren't members of the Watch, you understand. But, they made off with a map of all the known unsealed entrances and, exits of the sewer system.
Oh, dear. That is quite important. Would you happen to know what those locations were?
Well, there's many of them around the city. I've not seen the document myself, you understand. Not being that was something that we had tucked away. Nobody really studies it. Since all of them were sealed up, of course it was the Engineers Guild's responsibility to make sure that that was done. And we keep meticulous paperwork and notes, so, well...
So this was all of the unsealed entrances.
Well, it would have had all the sealed... all of the entrances that were sealed. Aye. But of course, anything that can be sealed can be unsealed, as it were.
Of course.
And what I know, it also showed connections between the surface and the undercity. From back in the olden days when before they redid the sewer system.
In your extensive notes and records, would you happen to have a copy of it?
A copy? What would we need a copy for? The original was under lock and key.
Because don't you keep meticulous records?
We
Shouldn't you
do,
be
and it was
keeping-
meticulously kept, and it was meticulously filed away and meticulously locked up for safety.
Yes.
No
well,
need to have 2 such documents.
perhaps
It would be
for important
preposterous to think
documents.
that one would be stolen.
That is true. Your locks are quite extravagantly well made. So they took this map of all of the locations, and that was the only thing that was taken.
Aye. Likelihood is the good honourable dwarf that was deceased. My thinking is he either heard him sneaking in or sneaking out. Went to investigate, and then he fell foul to the creature.
That does seem the most logical explanation.
Aye.
Dear. Well, I will do my very best to find whoever it is that is responsible for this.
Well,
I will
see
make
what you
sure-
do. Of
I will
course,
make sure that he is avenged upon them.
our deceased brethren has been properly put to rest with the appropriate dwarven rituals and sealed in his tomb of his family.
He was
I only
given
asked
this-
because I figured your next question would be to investigate and examine the body. I just want to make sure very clearly and without any misconception that that's not possible.
Wait. He is here with his family in the
No,
family
no, I
tomb.
didn't say he was here. I said he'd been properly buried in his family tomb.
So he's
That's
in
not
his
here.
family tomb.
Aye. The guards said that they delivered him they'd take him down there to the Church of Moor. Well, of course, being a dwarven ceremony needing to be done, we post-haste intercepted and, laid down the proper writs and rites and removed the body from the Temple of Moor and had it brought back and taken off to be properly buried. And I can't be telling you where because that's a dwarven secret. And something that's not to be discussed with non-blood relatives, as it were.
Yes, I completely understand. I do understand. We are not blood relatives.
Dwarves in their secret holes.
After all, it would be an incredible breach of etiquette if I was to tell you that. I've already told you more than I probably should have.
No, and I greatly appreciate that you have been so helpful. It will stay a secret. I will not share your secrets with the world. It is only so that I may find whoever did this. and
Aye,
bring
well,
them
as
to
I said,
justice.
if it hadn't been for the fact that you were a member of the Watch. But
Yes, of course.
as a member of the Watch, I expect you to keep up our traditions and uphold our necessary need for secrecy. After all,
Certainly.
if rumour got out that somebody was able to break into the Dwarven Engineers Guild and pick our locks, well, it could be devastating for our potential business around the city.
It could
People
never-
hire the Engineers Guild for a variety of reasons, but one, of course, is to make sure that things that don't need stealing stay non-stolen.
Yes, of course, and it could never happen.
No, and it didn't happen.
Absolutely not. Were any of those sealed entrances near this location?
As I said, I never see the document myself. I only know what it was that was taken.
Do you know of any of the entrances in this area to the sewers or anything?
Not I.
Okay.
I only
thank
come
you.
to the city about 6 months ago. It was all done and sealed long before I arrived.
Well, where is it that you're from?
Oh, well, I come from the mountains. Me and my brethren come down from Karakzar.
And did you come here just for this position? You couldn't have.
Well, of course I did. It's the Dwarven Engineers Guild. It's a right proper, respectable position for a dwarf. I mean, granted, I'm just the doorman, but that's an honourable thing. After all,
Absolutely.
it's down to me to vet everybody that comes in and goes
But
out.
the most important job, one would argue, being out here, making sure
Being-
that you stay safe.
Oh, that's right. Being fairly young, it would be good experience. Hope to rise to ranks of shield bearer one day.
And I'm sure you will.
Aye.
If I need any more information, may I come and find you again?
Well, you can find this door, you're going to find me, because I'll be stuck right here in front of it.
And what was your name?
My name is Guntran.
Gontran. Well, it was very nice to meet you, and I really appreciate your information.
Aye, well, it was a pleasure to meet your acquaintance, too.
Gontran.
Okay.
We're still gonna walk around and look in the alley where.
All right. Yeah, you kind of do it once around the building. And it's actually pretty obvious to see where they're talking about because you can find a window that's actually been boarded up from the inside. And right below that window, there's a little area that's been pristinely cleaned. Like, all the filth and everything that was in and around the area has been moved and brushed away. And there's a chalk outline of a dwarf. No. Chalk powder everywhere. No. But yeah, it's all been cleaned outside underneath the window, and the window itself has been sealed up.
Can we find any of the claw marks? Or
Seeing as you know what you're looking for, you'll get a plus on the roll. And you will need... Pop this out so I've got it available. Alright, so, let's see here. So there is particularly a tracking skill, but you can use outdoor survival for looking for this if you want. And seeing as you know what you're kind of looking for, because you've seen it before and you're being very specific, I will give you a plus 20 on it. Nope. But of course, again, they've cleaned the area. So if there were any tracks or anything here, it's probably not that likely that you'd find them. They don't feel too bad.
Hey, Spook, have you succeeded on anything you've rolled yet?
No, I haven't. Thanks for rubbing it in.
She's got the mat curse.
All right, this is just the fast talk curse talking.
Yep, that's it.
Well, To be honest, like, well, I guess that is one of my higher skills. Damn it.
Are there any like entrances to sewers or anything like? Now that we know we're looking for
Yeah.
Skaven, the way they would move would probably be sewers, or like tunnels or something like that in the area.
You guys want to do a little search of the area, and I'll kind of divide up and do it.
I assume we'd all kind of go for it. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, there's 4 of you. Show me on the map kind of what sort of area are you trying to cover.
So like the back alley is like probably the one directly behind the building.
Yep.
Okay. So I would be looking immediately for any kind of vantage point that would allow a good blowgun shot. Because like he probably died right in the center of the area cleaned up.
So maybe kind of just this sort of area here.
Yeah, it would have to be pretty close, right? So I'm thinking just down the alley in that middle alleyway area or something.
So one of you can make a search roll, but you can have plus 30 on it, seeing as it's basically representative of all of you.
Are we gonna do that thing with like the number, or like on forehead game, where we can't tell who's the best at searching?
It's up to you if you want to meta or not. I don't care, because logically, the person who is probably the best at it is most likely to have found it. So,
well, you know that's not me.
So if you whoever's got the highest search, if you want to add 30 to it and make that roll, I don't have a problem with that.
I would be at 65 with that.
That's pretty good.
So would I.
Yeah, that's you.
So.
Okay, so pick.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay, all
good,
right,
Satch. I believe in you.
65 or below. A 6. Okay.
Woo!
That's like a critical success. So here's the thing. First of all, you do not find any sewer entrances at all.
Okay.
What you do find while looking for that is in a small little kind of indentation that runs along the sides of the alleys. Basically, it's like a little street gutter where the rain kind of congregates to and they brush it through. Because this is, again, not the nicest area. It's certainly not the worst. But a fair amount of refuse does kind of collect in those until street cleaners actually come and scrape it out. You do actually find, as something crossed a corner, 2 very clear indentations of very large rat paws.
I'm so glad it's not another dart.
Okay, so
I was like, do not pick it up.
There,
Yeah.
Is there any sign?
I mean, this is like to the point you could almost take a mold from it.
Yeah. Well, that's the clear indicator that yes, it was Skaven. But is there any evidence of, like, if I can make a casting of it, can I tell by the way they're imprinted any kind of leaning or shifting that would have
you can tell that it was coming from this direction.
Okay, I'm gonna draw that real quick.
So,
okay.
Yep. So whatever it was would have had to have come from, that's the direction that they're facing is in opposite to that. So, I mean, they could have come from anywhere around there, but they
seems to have
come from
the
that
other one.
area.
Okay. Which is odd because that goes directly to the next spot.
Alrighty.
I'm gonna basically I'm gonna call forth Mathubane here because he's the only person I trust for racist reasons. I'm going to basically point out my entire discovery, just be like two prints here leading directly from what I believe is actually the other killing.
Yes, kind of bold of them to be above ground for so long, if that's true.
Well, with the proper amount of obscuring oneself, any kind of cloak, you could appear as a dwarf or
Well, that would be easy. It's
Halfling.
true. Halfling might be a stretch, but a Skaven pretending to be a dwarf would be passable, I imagine. They look similar.
And in a place where people are used to seeing dwarves, it wouldn't be too far off. They're both disgusting.
Guess head to
Damn.
the other place.
Well, we know our killer. We know where they stood when they fired the shot. That's about all we're going to get from here.
Okay. All right, so this is going to take you to the old quarter, which is like the original parts of the city. It's kind of much older. Also, you notice a lot of the buildings are damaged and burned. Because the area that you're in now is kind of, this is where at the the easternmost gate is where the siege happened and the door was busted down. So, well, not the door, but the gates. So all this area around here is kind of burned, and a lot of the buildings are damaged because this is where, you know, trebuchets and stuff would have landed. And of course, here's the damaged gate that currently has a fairly large complement of city watchmen standing around it, as well, you know. So, okay. So you guys are going to go... Let me go ahead and slide this out a little bit more. Alright, so you're going to where the pinpoint was. Okay. Alright, so yeah, this is pretty much a fairly poor residential area. You can see quite a few people living out on the streets. Bums, refuse, tramps, that sort of stuff. Exactly, of course, it was a pinprint in a map, so that doesn't really show you the exact location, but you know you're in the vicinity. What do you want to do?
Does anyone know an unidentified guy?
A lot of people will just look and go, and then just point at several tramps and bums and stuff.
How about the scene of the recent murder?
Okay. When you say that, probably most people duck their heads and scurry away. Like, uh-oh, something we don't want to be involved in here. What do you want to do beyond that? So immediately people start to scatter when you say that.
I'm going to look around for the person who's not scattering, who's kind of like looking at us with interest.
Okay, probably nobody's looking at you with interest, but there are definitely people sitting in the streets holding cups, shaking them, like begging for money. They haven't gone anywhere. They probably don't give a shit at this point. They're so down on their luck that what do they care?
Aw.
Just hand out a penny for any person with a word.
Half a talent for an old ex-slapper?
So yeah, it's just that's not a bad idea, Kedrila. Money for anyone with information?
Okay.
This is going to go well.
Immediately, a couple of people ching, 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 rattle their mugs.
Well, get up and walk to us.
One of them kind of looks at his legs and then shrugs and does this, and it's at that point that you notice he doesn't appear to have any legs below the knee.
Well, that's just rude.
He says, "I'm sorry, but I lost my legs defending the gates a year ago when the siege happened. I cannot work. I am down on my luck. This is not even the cities that I was born in. I just happened to be here and I was conscripted. I come from far, far away from here."
I'm gonna look over at Bertilda, who's clearly facepalming me.
But you said if I have information.
Yes,
I heard that they found a dead body in that side alley just down there.
All right, I'm gonna walk over to the legless man,
Okay.
kind of guiltily looking back at Bertilda, who's still doing what she's clearly doing.
Okay.
And I'm gonna slip a gold coin.
Before you do that,
Oh, okay.
make a if you will, give me a. Let's see. Whoop! I didn't mean to do that. I just enlarged that beyond what I wanted to. Yeah, give me a perception roll, please, first.
Okay. Well, a third of a chance of getting this. Nope. Not happening.
Okay, no problem. Yep. So how much money do you want to hand him?
I'm giving him a gold coin. I'm being very generous.
A gold?
Yep.
Okay,
Well,
you
shut
drop
up,
the gold in.
Thank
He looks at you and he says, "This is not kind. This is a cruel, wicked joke you play on me. This is not kind at all.
You want me to take the money back?
No, I don't want you to take it back, but that's what you're going to do, yes? Nobody is going to give a person like me such wealth."
No, he's not taking it back.
Yes, I seem to have.
Okay, he looks
Now
at
being
Matilda and
guilty.
he goes, "Is he slow? Is he perhaps slow?"
Sometimes I think so, but just please, just have the money.
For
He's not
real?
slow, he's
This
an
is
elf.
mine? I can keep this?
It's yours.
It comes with the blessings
Oh,
of Sigmar.
hallelujah! And he jumps up. And as he jumps up, you notice that basically he was kneeling down and he had cut away his pants and he has legs. And he's Sigma be praised! It's a miracle!
Yeah, go get some more praises from Sigmar.
Okay,
why
and
don't you?
then I'm
No.
just gonna burst out laughing.
Guys, go to the back alley. It's fine.
I will show you. I will show you
No.
personally.
Stay right there. It's okay.
He's gonna kill that dude, and then I'm gonna go in the back alley.
No. So what is everyone's gonna do? I'm
I'm gonna go to the alley like you told me to. I'm just trusting you're going to kill this guy.
Okay. He looks very nervous. He goes, "You understand? I come from Araby, yes? This is not a place for me. No one trusts me. My skin, my foreign accent. It's very hard for me to find a job. Very difficult."
What's everyone else doing at this point?
Well, we know that Cadorel went down the back alley where he pointed.
Yes, Odette.
She'll walk to the alley.
I'm
Okay.
gonna laugh and kind of pat Matthew on the back and kind of pull him toward
No. I'm resisting. No, just one second. Don't worry, he'll be fine. Gonna go till you're gonna still laugh with
I'm
me.
gonna go, but I'm keeping an ear out.
Okay, so you wander down, but you're kind of like just
Yeah.
listening should you hear a horrible scream or a cry. Okay.
The second they're kind of out of sight, I'm gonna reach into my pouch, take out a feather, like a little down feather,
Uh-huh.
and I'm gonna attempt to put him to sleep with a touch spell.
Oh, are you now?
Yes.
Okay.
I have improved like touch, I guess you could say.
Well, normally you'd have to make an attack roll to do that, but
Yes.
he is not going to actually resist you in any way, so you will be able to touch him.
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna put my hand on his shoulder.
Yeah, because this is not a circumstance where he would initially, like, immediately feel like he's about to be attacked by anything.
Okay. So
Alright.
I'm using an ingredient, so it reduces my casting number by 1, I guess. That's because it's a
Yep.
ingredient bonus.
So what is the casting number for your sleep spell?
It's 6, so it's going to be 5.
Okay, and you only have the 1 magic point, so roll a d10, and you need to roll above a 5. 5 or above.
I press the button. Maybe it's being slow,
Maybe. Or maybe it just doesn't, maybe the macro didn't work.
but it. I filled it all out and stuff.
Well, oh, there it goes.
Oh.
Okay, casting number is 6. You use the thing, so
So-
you got a 5, and your casting test You rolled a 4, so it actually failed. So you mutter the words under your breath, holding your little feather, and he goes, "Ah, I didn't think it was as late as all of that. Oh well, I feel a little drowsy."
So,
But he does not fall asleep.
so I'm gonna pat him a little bit more aggressively in frustration,
Okay.
and then I'm just gonna leave and go behind the alley, kind of muttering under my breath.
Okay.
Damn son of a bitch.
Oh, and I just accidentally closed out that.
Praise Sigmar.
That's the best cuss possible.
Praise Sigmar. Lightning bolts.
So yeah, I'm gonna join the group and be like, yes,
Okay.
I know.
Well, while you're playing with feathers and Araby guys, so you guys are going to go down to the alley and look around, huh? Okay. Let me go to the right page. All right, so you're down the back alley. Everybody that's down the back alley, give me a perception test, if you will.
Yes, I'll do that.
Gosh damn it.
What?
Cadil Rel, with your keen elven eyes, you indeed do notice something. You find an area up against the side where there is a large patch of dried, dark-colored liquid. Kind of looking at that, you also notice that there are droplets of a similar colored liquid that is dried, leading away from it.
I'm assuming this is blood.
Or red wine. Or Coke. Dr. Pepper.
Coagulated red wine. You know, the usual.
That's it.
So which way is this dragon?
It is actually leading... let's see, where you at? It's kind of leading directly eastwards from here.
Okay. Just gonna go ahead and draw that so I know. That's where all the burnout and everything is.
Mm-hmm. Yep, into the nastiest areas.
Which would make sense if I were, I don't know, a nasty rat man.
Well, I mean, if you're hiding above ground, what better place to hide than an area that's completely burnt out that no one else wants to go to, right? So.
Right. So I'm basically just gonna kind of like point it out and be like, it leads that way. Likely the direction we should inspect.
Right. Does anybody have the follow trail? Anyone got follow trail?
Yes, I have it trained.
Okay. As soon as you've already found the trail, it'll be easy. So you get a plus 20.
Okay.
To see how well you can follow it.
Let's see how this goes. It's kind of a straight drop. Oh, I didn't hit anything, but... Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Got it.
Yeah, okay. After a while, it starts to get less and less, but combining droplets of blood with the occasional little scratch marks, which seems to be kind of limping a little bit. You are able to follow it in the direction continued east. I'm assuming everyone's going with you?
Yeah, I'm dragging behind, though.
All right, okay. You will follow the blood and the marks all the way close to the city walls, where you find... So around the base of the city walls, there is actually like some metal grating periodically. You find like little metal grates that are kind of like storm sewers and stuff like that. Obviously, they just go into the top layer, or that's where they should be going. But you follow it all the way up to a stout metal grate with like a 6-inch mesh over the top of it. At first glance, there doesn't appear to be any obvious way to open it. So it just leads up to a closed and sealed metal grate.
Can I pull on it?
Um,
Like the window? Or push on it like the window?
Okay. You grab it and start yanking. What actually happens is you kind of fall backwards because a middle section falls right out. Like somebody had cut out a section of the grate and then meticulously used refuse and mud to hide the seals around it so that nobody at first glance would have noticed that. So basically, there is a small hole, enough that a human-sized person could crawl through it at a push.
Well, that wasn't what I was expecting.
Beautiful Mayfly.
Yes, good job, Odette.
I thought it was going to be like the window.
A window.
It's kind of like a window, except made of metal and not a window at all.
But
Not like
kind
the
of glancing
window.
through, it drops down into the storm sewer. This would lead you down into the sewer system itself.
So,
But it's it's at this point, with the trails and everything that you've had, it's fair to assume that this is probably where, or at least one place, if not, unless there's more, at least one place where whatever it is that you're looking for may or may not be escaping from the sewers below.
She's going to put the grate back.
Okay.
whoa, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing? I'm putting it back.
But why? That's clearly where we need to go.
Are you wanting to go down there now? With no information, without having informed the guard of any of our actions or what we have found? You want to walk into the sewers where we don't know where we're going?
Generally, you find the enemy and you alert the forces.
Well, yes, but we're going down there where we are not sure we'll be able to find our way out.
No, I'm in
again.
absolute agreement. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to explain to Mathaban here. We aren't a force. This thing has instant death powder water doom stuff. I don't want to deal with that. Personally, I just want to inform those who might.
We're not a forceful. We dealt with the beastmen back at Utengard.
That's not our
Yes,
job.
in force with assistance,
Not much assistance. We are.
but enough. I don't want to be up against the most illegal, poisonous death trap possible.
We were just
against
asked to
an
figure it out.
imaginary
We
enemy
weren't
that
asked to
doesn't
kill
even
it.
theoretically exist alone.
Do you guys really think that that'll be the end of this?
No,
That we go back to the captain and say, "Hey, we found where these things are from."
no, but
And they
we
won't
should
just say,
report
"Well, thank
back.
you. Now go away."
We
Well,
should
even
report
if-
back.
Even if it's not the end, do you want to go down there and leave the entire city to the whims of whatever it is when we get lost and can't find our way back?
How are we? We literally just had a guy track a very faint and hard to detect trail back to this place.
Yeah, probably way more than the City Watch could have done. And clearly didn't do.
So what I'm saying is...
We have an expert tracker right here.
Yes.
Do we
and
have
let me-
somebody that can battle that warp? What's it?
Well, the same person also touched the warp stone stuff too.
I'm not exactly an expert
All right,
at
you go do
tracking
it.
in a sewer.
You
If
lead
you
the
want to
way.
go do this alone, be my guest. But I'd rather pay a rat hunter, whatever they're called, a getter,
A
to
rat
go down
go-getter.
there. A rat go-getter to go in front of us and then get killed.
We
so
still
that
have
we know when
a-
to turn around.
We still have one murder to investigate.
There is
We
also, yes.
could
a
do
third
some due
murder.
diligence there.
I
I
feel
believe
like this
so.
guy was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. He saw something he shouldn't have.
He's unidentified. He could have been anyone for any reason. So
We do also need to inform the guard that
You also know that this body was one that did get taken to the Temple of Moor.
the dwarves did intercept the other body, that we should probably inform someone there of what they are facing.
Well, those bodies at the Temple of the Morgue are going to be alerted.
Yes,
I don't.
The dwarves.
I
The
don't
dwarf
care
isn't.
about. So
You were just the worst kind of person. You know that.
Okay.
I'm sorry if centuries of
unleashed?
animosity between our races are not easily.
If it's unleashed
Brought
within the
into sympathy
dwarves,
here.
are you
Centuries
ready
we
to
can be
face?
alive for.
Have you ever heard of being the bigger person?
Yes,
Sorry,
we do it
Odette.
all the time. The dwarves are quite small.
All I'm saying is, what you want to do is let the dwarves know that their ritualistic, sacred things are not safe. How do you think they're going to respond to that?
Oh no, I'm not gonna tell them. I was gonna tell the guard to tell them.
Well, we already said the guard would tell them.
We haven't told the guard.
The guards know,
No.
The guards think that
The
all the
captain-
bodies is at the moor.
but when he comes back from the moor, they'll know that the dwarves was not, and go send an emissary there.
I guess the point I'm getting at is there's no reason to go in less strong than we could be, and if we could have more bodies thrown in front of us to absorb more poisonous darts, then we'll be better off as the four of us.
And I'm the worst kind of person, eh, Kendra?
Well, I'm just saying that's not our job, at least not yet. That's not in the job description. We were just told to figure stuff out.
Not like we all haven't witnessed mortality at its best here.
All
I say we. It's
So
more perspective, voice from the
Bertilda wants to. So my understanding is this: Bertilda wants to go through the motions until we get physically hired to do what I'm already suggesting we do.
Right.
Padrilil here wants to get cannon fodder to die instead of us while we all go down.
Doesn't that sound great? Still being alive.
Well, while I don't like the way he put it, if we do get hired to do such a job, at least they might have us be better equipped than we are right now.
Okay,
Precisely.
fair enough.
And it would be wise to do our diligence and see what we can of the last site before reporting back, as we were instructed to do, just so that we can be as useful as possible and then maybe shake this job and go back to our lives.
Understood. You have convinced me. Lead the way.
That's more points for me. Okay.
Okay. So you're gonna head back up into the
I'm gonna glance at
Freeburg
Odette and be like, I hate
to
it here.
outside
Let the elves have their
Theologica.
talk. Let the elves have their talk, obviously.
Okay. So up to the Collegium Theologica, which is basically the College of Theology. This is where it's not a temple, but it is where they have all the knowledge and information of all things godly and religious. Okay. Who wants to lead the charge in this discussion?
Are you guys just gonna have me talk to everybody?
We're literally just going to have you talk to everybody.
You're small and cute, and everybody likes you. Go talk to them.
Ourselves included. We appreciate you. You're great. I'm not suggesting that we're better than you because we're elves. I'm just suggesting that we're predetermined to be
Odette is
better
well
than
spoken.
most.
Odette's well spoken. The elves are condescending.
And you're basic. You're a basic white girl.
I apparently can't do anything, so
Moral compass.
That's it. Okay. Then I guess it's on to you, Odette.
Oh, good. I really enjoy this part of the.
So, the Collegium Theologica.
Okay. And this was somebody found outside as well, right?
This was actually a dead watchman that was found outside.
Oh, a dead watchman found outside.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, I will go try to find somebody to talk to.
Okie dokie. Okay. Well, the Collegium Theologica is open to the public. You're allowed in there. And it boasts an impressive library. Inside, you will find all manner of acolytes that you can talk to. How do you want to? What sort of person are you looking for, and how do you want to start a conversation?
Goodness gracious, I have no idea. I thought I'd be done after the dwarfs.
Hey, you, where the dead watchman at?
I am going to look for someone who seems a little distracted from studying. Like one of the like people walking around, maybe if
Yeah,
they're not
you wouldn't be a
actively
problem. Yep.
focused on something.
Yeah. Okay.
Oof, we don't have like a really smart type person in our group that we know of, so I'm just going to go in with the same tactic. I'm going to excuse me, do you have a moment to speak with me about an incident that happened here?
I suppose so.
Oh, I would really appreciate it. You see, I'm here on official business from the watch, and I'll take out the paper and show him.
Okay. Yes. Oh, you're here in regards to the
Yes, that's
unfortunate.
That's precisely it. It is quite unfortunate, but we do need a little more information if you have any.
I'll tell you what I know.
Okay, perfect. Where was the body found precisely?
Outside. I can show you if you wish.
Yes, that would be wonderful.
Okay. Takes you round the back, down the side street, and points to a point on the wall. He was found dead right here.
Are there any windows nearby?
There is, but the closest window is quite a way up off the ground.
Are there any marks on the wall near it? Or like climbing up it, maybe?
And again, are you specifically looking for any ratish sort of stuff or whatever?
Nope.
Give me a perception roll. And again, you can have a +20 because you kind of now know what you're looking for specifically.
Ooh. I still can't do it.
No. Yeah, I mean, it's old masonry, and there's lots of kind of broken parts and dislodged parts, so you kind of look at it and it's a sheer climb though. It would be quite a feat to climb up there.
Right. What is on the other side of that window there?
This is the library.
This just goes up to the library.
Yes. Of course, the library, it's a very tall building, has windows just around top.
Okay. Just
Let in the light, but from high up, so it protects the pages of the books.
That's a very smart way to let the light in. Was there anything unusual that night or that day whenever the god was found?
Not that I'm aware of.
Was there anything taken from the library? Any of the rooms?
If there was, nobody said anything to me.
Okay. What about the buildings nearby? Are there any buildings nearby that look of interest?
I mean, all the buildings, you're in the Freiburg, so all the buildings are very nice, very well constructed, very big, very proper, very wealthy. But I mean, nothing that necessarily stands out. I mean, of course, just north of here, you know, the Temple of Sigmar is, which is...
Right. So when was the body found?
I believe it was 2 days ago.
2 days ago. And did they find any reason for this god to have been killed so far that you know of?
I mean, I believe it was assumed that perhaps the guard witnessed a crime, went to apprehend the culprit, and was killed.
This doesn't really seem the neighborhood for crime, though. Is that a common occurrence?
It's mostly because we have watchmen that actually patrol here, much to this poor fellow's demise.
Right, but is it a common occurrence that the watchmen are actually attacked?
No, not at all.
It doesn't seem like the area to have watchmen often attacked, so this seems like an unusual occurrence.
I suppose so.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. You've been quite helpful, and nothing has gone missing, and there's been nothing unusual in the library.
Not that I am aware, no.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Okay. Alrighty. So what do you guys want to do with the information you have gathered from the three...
So, Gore, we have asked, I don't know if it was made clear or not asked in a particular way, the order of deaths, right? Because we asked when these guys were murdered.
You did, and he said all within a few days, but there was nobody specifically said this one, then this one, then this one.
Okay, so this guy just said 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Which we did spend the night after the priest was murdered.
So it was the day before.
So it was the day before,
yeah.
Right? Okay.
And then the dwarf had said it was the night before last.
So that would basically mean that the other murders were all
The same day.
Yeah. But that's assuming. I mean, it's fair to assume because of where they were that they were all would have been found dead fairly soon after they were killed. They probably wasn't
right.
laying
And
days, so
we've already made the connection that the alt quarter and the dwarf was probably just like the to and from, right? Like he was interrupted. Or did we not say that yet?
you did. You said that I think Oldet said that the dead peasant was probably just, and I think also Batilda also said it as well. It's probably just wrong place, wrong time type thing. Saw something he shouldn't and got murdered for it.
Okay.
I mean, you know that something was stolen from the Dwarven Engineers Guild, which would make sense why. And if the doorman tried to interrupt it, that's why he was killed. The watchman could be the same or one or the other.
Okay.
Were you guys waiting inside, or did you follow me out?
I would have went with you
Okay.
for moral support, even though I didn't really
we
help.
would've been with you.
Yeah,
Okay, alright.
So, was this an information murder?
I don't know. See, the only window nearby, the other two have been through windows. So the only window nearby is that one up there. But how would they get up there?
How tall is this window again?
It's about 12 foot off the ground.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the wall and see if there's any scratches or indentations.
Okay, perception check. Plus 20, because again, you know what you're looking for.
Still.
Still,
I mean,
You're not very searchy.
okay, all right, few.
Okay.
That would have been
Me.
All right. It's very, very subtle. You don't really see scratches. What you do, in fact, see though, is a couple of small holes where something may have been like hammered into the wall to aid in an escalation up to the window.
Okay, but they're not claw holes; they're just hole holes. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna point this out and be like, what are these holes?
Yeah.
They're going up.
And you can see like little bits of powdered stone, kind of like in the entrance of them. So you know that they're fairly recent. It's kind of like a climbing piton, you know, like you'd hammer in the side of a mountain to help you
I was
climb
gonna
up.
say pittons, but I wasn't sure if
Yep,
other
that sort of
was
thing.
hard enough because
Yeah, I was gonna say pitten too, but I was like, is that?
But
elves?
that's about it. Yeah,
Would elves know what a pitten is?
maybe.
maybe.
I don't know what elves do or think.
How tall are you?
we're actually racist towards elves trying to play racist elves.
It's kind of weird.
It's not easy. It's hard. I don't know what's going on with elves.
Your hatred for elves is coming out in your behavior as elves.
Hey, tall people, how tall are you?
Oh shoot, I never. Where's that back?
I am 6'2".
I'm 5'10". So is Kelro.
I'm 5'4".
6'2". I am.
How about I get on Bertilda's shoulders and then you get on my shoulders
To make a people tower.
No, because I'm only 3'9", so.
and then Odette gets on all of ours.
3'9". To get up to 12 foot, I don't think we can.
It would be good to just try and climb, wouldn't it? I have arrows. I can probably just use those, and if I grab right at the base of the arrow, it probably wouldn't snap.
Oh, put the arrows in the holes?
In the pitten holes, and yeah. Just.
I mean, with it being 12 foot and one of you is 5'10" and one of you is 6'2", I mean, if one of you stood on the other one's shoulders, you'd be pretty close.
And
You
then we
wouldn't
just have
quite be able to reach the window, but you wouldn't be far from it.
Stack up some of
In
your
fact,
books
actually,
and
because
stand on it.
actually you probably would, because you're raising your arms, right? So you probably could grab hold of the window ledge.
I mean, worst case scenario, we just all jump at the same time, right?
If we jump at the same time, we jump twice as hard, right? That's how.
Yeah.
Isn't that how
So,
it works?
in theory, as long as the
You know
elves are
books.
involved, if the two elves, if one stands on top of the other elf's shoulders, you, in theory, can get to the window.
We do need to set up a perimeter though, because this has the potential to be embarrassing. And
Wait!
Nothing to see here!
Why don't we... So, I'm sorry. That's a great idea, but why don't we just knock on the door and get in there normally?
Well,
we can see
just
kind of
walk
where
in.
where the marks go to, right?
I wanted to see if the window is loose.
That's a really good idea. They might have
can-
ladders on the inside.
Or we could just see from the inside if it's loose.
It's still going to be 12 feet off the ground. Do you want to do it in front of all the people inside?
No, they're smart.
Wait, why would it... Wait, is this window, like, not on a floor? It's
No, it's above the library.
That was
Okay,
part of
It's
the
like,
whole
that's
so
part
if
of
you
the
imagine
point.
a big, tall library,
Got it, yeah.
and they
okay.
just got windows around the top, because all the walls are loaded with books.
Well, we could climb the books. No, I got
If
it.
we got a
Yes,
stack
that
of
is
books tall
exactly
enough.
what you want to do. That's exactly what you want to do in front of all of the people there.
Just rent some books.
So you
You
want
know,
to just
get a
go
library
inside the
card.
I
library?
mean, why
and look
not?
around?
Just because it might be embarrassing?
So clearly
Why
this
don't
is a
you
job
two
for the
make an
elves.
inspection inside while we try and be tall around the window. I'll see if it's loose, and if it is, I'll let you know, and if it's not, I won't let you know. Well, I will let you know that it isn't, and then if I can't, I will probably just lie.
Okay.
Wait, I'm sorry. Is the only thing keeping us from investigating this is embarrassment?
A certain degree of pride, yes.
Why don't we just shoot our arrows into this wall with ropes attached to them and climb that
And
way?
then just be like, okay, it's okay, city guard. City guard.
'Cause
Well,
Let's
yeah,
just do the
arrows
easy
are-
thing.
does
Why do
the-
we have to make this complicated?
Yeah, the arrows are probably not going to stick in the wall. They're going to
Shoulder up and I'll
break.
climb.
But they're elvish arrows, Gore.
Shoulder up and I'll climb.
Are they super strong?
Okay.
They're not dwarven.
Look, they got to clean the windows somehow. Why don't we just go in and...
Use the ladder. It's a library. They have ladders.
Hey,
what I said.
that was your elven compatriot did say that once already.
Yes, I know. I just can't believe I moved on from it so quickly. Sorry, that's my
It's a matter of
fault.
if you want to do it on the inside or the outside, in front of a lot of people, or out here where no one can see.
I don't really care if
Oh,
people
there's
see me climb a
people here,
ladder
too.
or not.
No, but they do.
Yeah, I'm gonna go inside. Flash
Well,
my
who
little-
cares what they think, Odette?
Oh, she's letting them do this whole thing. This is their job now.
I'm gonna go inside, flash my little deputized paper,
Uh huh.
get a ladder from the librarians, and
Yeah,
come
they
back
they
outside.
have loads of ladders on wheels
Yeah.
that go all the way up to big, tall, 10-foot
Oh.
bookshelves at the top. So you can easily get a ladder and push it up to where the window is and walk and climb up it.
Oh, I wanted to bring the ladder outside, but I guess I can do that from the.
Well, you
What
can do
for?
that too. You want to drag it if you want to go to the effort of taking a huge big ladder down the hallway and outside. You can.
I'll just stand outside to get hit by the
Sorry,
window.
we'll do it inside. I'll get
No.
everyone else to come inside with me. We'll go to that window, and Odette can climb the ladder.
Oh no, this is your job now. You've taken it over.
They'll do a whole Abbott and Costello thing. Like, you can push up.
Look, I would do it,
stand
but I
outside
can't
and
even
try
look
and
out a
catch
window
it.
when it's right in front of me. So
You got that blinker vision thing going on.
Fine, I will climb the ladder and go to the window.
Okay.
I'm gonna go inside and watch him climb the ladder.
I do it very gracefully. Just-
I'm gonna laugh the whole time.
You can see up his skirt.
I'm just baffled
Okay,
at this right now.
Yes, you do indeed find the same thing has happened to this window. Someone has picked out the lead carefully replaced it. So it would appear that the assailant did indeed come through here.
Okay, so I'm gonna
Of course, in a library this size, if he did steal a thing,
yes,
and it was a book off a shelf, is it likely that somebody is aware that it was even missing? Depends what it was, of course. So
Yes, so what
It's likely to be
section-
something.
What section of books am I in right now near this ladder? Self-help? How to kill a priest?
New
an
age.
entire section of how to do things for dummies.
Okay.
No,
There's
Let's
a
get
book
you the one that
titled
says how to climb a ladder.
ladders for dummies.
How to Disguise Yourself.
No,
as a
you're
Ghost
probably
by
actually
Reading a Rat
it's a
Man.
history section.
Okay. So there are clearly bookshelves against the wall that I have my ladder against.
Uh-huh.
Is there dust on the top part? Because I want to see if there's disturbed dust, like someone was crawling along the top part of this bookshelf.
There are indeed. There are little ratty dyke footprints that go across.
All right. So you're gonna see me I'm on the ladder and I'm gonna start like pushing myself down the bookshelf with
Following
the
it, okay.
while on top of the ladder, following the dirt, I guess,
All right.
as much as I can.
So you get to the end of this bookshelf, where it actually is kind of like there's a doorway.
Yeah.
So obviously he probably came down at this point.
Okay, so I'm gonna go down, looking at the other shelves on my way down to see if I see any more disturbed dirt or dust. Like,
I
water
mean,
traveling down.
there's lots of that, but that's because this is a very well-used library. So,
Okay.
I mean,
So,
it's been a few days, so
Right.
books have been pulled off of shelves aplenty.
We should probably, and this is to the other two. I'm just letting him do his thing at this point because it's funny. But the other two, I'm just like, should we tell the staff here that there's likely something stolen?
I thought you were the one who didn't want to alarm people and get them involved.
Well, no, not dwarves.
Well, I mean, what do we think
People's
was
different.
potentially stolen? Probably something to do with Sigmar, right?
It's
Yeah.
it's
Not
very very
necessarily.
likely something.
By this point, I've climbed down the ladder and
Okay.
rejoined you. There's rat prints all along the top part of that bookshelf, from the window to this edge.
Were they big or small?
They were rat-sized. No, they were like
Not what we're looking for.
They were the kind you were looking
they
for.
were
Yes,
they were
big rat prints.
They were Skaven, Odette.
Shh.
You're in a library.
So either they climbed down here and went elsewhere, or they stole something from this bookshelf, or I don't know.
You said it was near a doorway.
Yeah,
What's through
the doorway. It's actually the door that you guys came in through.
We came in through.
So did they unlock the door for more of their people to come in? That makes no sense.
More likely just.
It's not like the front door. It's the door into. Because bear in mind, this
Into.
is not just a library. This is the Collegium Theologica, which is like a
Got it.
college. You
Okay.
just happen to be in the library area. So it looks like whoever it was may. I mean, it's possible they may have gone through that door and into the Collegium, or may have just come down here because they couldn't continue to go along bookshelves because there weren't any more until you got on the other side of the door.
Just to get the order right, the guard was killed before entry or after entry, would we say?
We don't know.
I would assume after.
If he came in this way, and
'Cause-
the guard was killed.
I mean, if he was killed before, it would be quite risky to still be in the around.
So as you're having this discussion, a woman walks up to you, and she says, if I may."
I give her an autograph.
She's pointing at the ladder, right?
No, she's pointing at you.
Oh,
she's trying to get your attention.
If I may take this ladder, you bastards.
If you need to get through, okay.
But yeah. So yeah, I'd be like, yeah, go. Sorry, go.
Let's see where we at. We're at the.
No such thing as Skaven. That's right, it's a mystery.
Okay. He says, "You're investigating the death of the poor watchman, yes? I did not mean to eavesdrop, but I overheard you talking.
That is correct.
Yes.
It is a terrible shame, and the fact that the family is so upset by this whole thing, and they said that it was very, very strange that the state of the body, and when they took it to the Temple of Mor, they said that they found some very weird things about the body, and then they would not allow the family to even examine the body or pay their last respects."
What?
Sadel, thank you for this resub. Take your pants off, hit the height.
Thank you.
3 months, you just earned your first badge, buddy.
Nice.
Yay!
I'm just that's why I'm just looking at Odette like, is she just gonna tell him? Is she just gonna tell her? Because she kind of, I'm sure she wants to just.
No, my chaos is methodical.
But the method would be madness in this case.
But I only tell you this because, as I said, the family was very distraught, and they said that the priests at the Temple of Mor were very, very strange and very, very reluctant to, as I said, to let them to even bury their own family member or even have a service for it.
Yes, it is quite strange. We are taking this very seriously because it is such a horrible attack against a god member in this area.
I hope you find whoever it is that did this.
Yes, that's why we are here. We are looking for any sort of connection to why they were in this place and what they were looking for.
I do not know. I am just here to look at books. I like to read.
Yes, this is a wonderful place for that. Well, you said the family is distraught. What was their names?
Let's see here. Oh, really? Oh, it is the Kruger family. I guess poor watchman was Freddy? I don't know.
When you do some prep and you don't think about it too much and then you
Yeah, it's like, wait, I didn't even draw that analogy until I just thought about that. Yes, so it is the Kruger family.
Well, perhaps when we find more information, we can give them a visit and help put their minds at rest.
I'm sure that they would appreciate that, especially as they were not permitted the rights to conduct the usual ceremony. They are most upset and they feel that without the proper ceremonies to the god Mor, that they will, their poor husband and father of 3 will not find his final resting place.
Yes, we will do everything we can. Thank you for your concern.
Alrighty.
I'm gonna.
That's all 3 murders investigated then.
And we are over our time.
We are. So I was just going to
We
ask
do.
what your intentions are for the next session.
Well, I want to go somewhere private to talk about the fact that the people at the moor obviously know what was used to kill these people, but they haven't told anybody. Like the guard.
That's some like 37 intelligence level shit right there.
Some next level shit. Okay, yeah, so you could go to the Temple of Moor and ask questions.
I want to continue a little bit longer looking around here, trying to figure out if it was in the library or if they went further in.
Yeah,
If something was maybe
That's
taken
a
from
good
further in.
idea. Yeah.
yeah. Those two things, and then I guess go to the captain to fill him in.
I
Okay.
kind of wanted to incriminate the young lady who came forward to ask questions just for fun.
Oh, and murder the bum who has legs and lie to me.
Yeah.
No, I don't
Get
want to
my
murder him.
gold
I was
piece
hoping
back.
you would kill him.
Okay. All right. Well, let's so that we don't leave a tiny piece unwrapped. So give me a perception check at the door, then.
Okay.
Whoever's
Come on,
examining
Odette.
the door.
I should not be the one to do this. Does someone else want to do it?
No, you're gonna do it.
You're gonna do it.
You're gonna do it. Just
I believe
do
in
it.
you.
Questions like
Elves are
awful.
sending you to do a thing again.
What
You
did
don't-
Shia say?
I think you're.
Yeah, you
do it!
did it.
No, you didn't.
I knew I wouldn't.
Doesn't she get a bonus because she knows what she's looking for?
Not in this case,
No.
because this is not looking for tracks that you've already seen.
I'm still going to be going. I want to go in and ask somebody if something was taken recently or if like they had anything moved unusual.
So it doesn't appear that anybody is even aware that anyone even broke in.
Okay.
So they don't know that something was stolen. And the only thing that they're aware of is the town guard or a member of the city watch was murdered outside
Yeah.
the building.
So-
There's no indication that anybody come in. But of course, by the window being replaced and all of that, why would they?
So the only thing I was gonna do was use the ladder across the way to the bookshelf on the other side of the door. Climb. to
There
see
are
if-
no tracks up there.
Okay, cool. That's it. That's all I had.
Okay. All right. Well, in that case, this is a good place for us to wrap things up. So we're out of here. Hope everybody has a great weekend, and hope you had fun. We did. Thanks for our follows. Thank you for everybody that subbed and resubbed. We very much appreciate it, and we will see you next time. Bye, y'all. Bye.
Bye.